What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode 245 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by one of the coolest dudes in video games, Greg Miller.
Give me my BB.
Yeah, we will. We will. There it is on the table. It's horrifying. We got FM3 himself, Fran Mirabella III, the best hair in the business.
What's up, everybody?
How you doing?
Excited to be here.
Yeah?
Gonna be a fun episode.
Yeah?
You missed a few buttons on your shirt.
Oh, yeah. You want me to take it down more?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Great
Fran.
response. We have the former informer, Imran Khan.
Howdy, I was up very late last night playing a video game.
Hell
You
yeah,
can finally say it, Death
were.
Stranding.
Oh yeah, Death Stranding.
I was
playing
as
Death
well.
Stranding.
And Andy Cortez, the #1 video games journalist.
Only one who dressed up, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, this
It
goes
is-
live
it
on
is
November
Halloween.
1st. It doesn't make sense to be in a costume on November 1st.
Dead
I'm
Eve.
probably one of our biggest Gamescasts of ever. You look like a fool.
The thing is, though,
Someone tuned in for the first time and they're like, what is going on? Who is this man?
it's because it's Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for
Tony Stark.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And then running the show over there, we have Kevin Coello, who will also be chiming in here and there on this episode.
Put yourself on.
Yeah, get on there, Kev.
So I can't be the only one
They
in
need to
costume.
know what your voice sounds like.
Well, they need to know what your
or
voice
what you
sounds
look like, maybe.
I don't want to be
He's
the only
working
one
on
in
it.
He's
costume
dropping the
right
green
now.
screen.
We're kind of funny. We have fun here. when we
This
talk
is
about
the
video
Kind of
games.
Funny
Kinda
Gamescast
fun.
each and every week right here on youtube.com
Okay.
/ kind of funny games. We get together to talk about video games, all the things that we love about them. You can get the show live by going to patreon.com / kind of funny games. You also get an exclusive pre and post show. Or you can just wait and get the show for free on youtube.com / kind of funny games on Mondays, or roosterteeth.com, or you can search for this as a podcast on your favorite podcast service. Just look for Kinda Funny Games Cast. Shout out to our Patreon producers, Angel Gutierrez and James Hastings, for helping make this show happen. And also shout out to Felix Gray and Mint Mobile, but we'll talk more about those later. For now, I just want to get into it. Death Stranding, the review. This Gamescast is going to be a little bit different than normal. Normally, we kind of talk about a whole bunch of different games, a whole bunch of different things. This is our Death Stranding review, the whole episode. Death Stranding all the time. Strands can mean many different things, and we'll talk about all of them here today.
No spoiler strands, though, right?
So that's the thing. First off, the game has been provided to us by PlayStation. Thank you, PlayStation, for sending it to us. All of us have been
review.
playing for review.
Yeah.
Yes. But Greg, what's the spoiler situation here?
Well, the spoiler situation here is that this will be a spoiler-free review, and I say that, and I do this for the most part. Like, what is your definition of a spoiler? We aren't spoiling any major story beats. Obviously, the embargo we have and everybody else has with PlayStation, right? It's like you're not supposed to show footage beyond Chapter 3. We're showing no footage, of course, but like, we're not going to go into what the end game is. We're going to talk about, obviously, if we liked certain aspects of it, certain things we didn't like on that front, but not be like on the nose about this is who this is. And that's what's
Absolutely.
up.
We're going to pretty much cover everything that the review embargo lets us, and the review embargo is designed in a way to not spoil things.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah, I'd say if you're like super scared of spoilers, like we'll talk gameplay mechanics probably and how they evolve. And in this game, that maybe is a spoiler, but not really.
Now that I'm in a safe spot and the embargo's up, right, what I'll say is the trailer Kojima put out on
I didn't even
Wednesday
watch it.
is way more spoilers than we're even allowed to be. What you have to imagine, whoever wrote the embargo guide for this game saw the trailer and was like, motherfucker, really? Like, there's things in there I think that are awesome reveals for this game, and it was just like, oh, that's just, okay,
Greg,
that's how that is.
I played this game for over 40 hours, and I kid you not, I'm not watching the trailer because it's like 7 or 8 minutes long. I'm afraid of spoilers.
Yeah.
Still at this point.
There were
Oh,
parts
no.
of that trailer that I hit yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's several
So-
minutes long. The trailer's several
minutes, yeah.
Oh, it's a general 8 to 9 minute.
Yeah, it's like-
Kojima
Oh,
trailer.
yeah.
yeah.
I guess something else came out on the internet recently that was only like maybe 30 or 40 seconds.
That's the PlayStation little
Okay,
teaser
cool.
for
Quick
Instagram
social
and
tease
stuff.
for the launch show.
So going around the table, how long has everyone played this game, and where and how far have they got?
I'm gonna be so
Sure.
different.
Yeah.
It's a good point of
Yeah,
contact, too.
Andy's insane here. So, well, I'll start.
Okay.
I played for about 5 hours, made it into Chapter 2, working my way through, and I ended up stopping playing because I didn't love it. Wasn't my favorite
not a
thing.
team game?
Honestly, that's what it is, and it is an art game, and it is definitely one of those things where it's going to grab people or it's going to turn them off. I wanted to get grabbed. There were moments that I was like really looking forward to, and it did not grab me.
Grabbler,
And it-
Grabbler.
There you go. But yeah, then Kev over there.
I'm the
So
shotgun.
I'm in a similar position where I only played about 5 hours. I actually loved it, really enjoyed it. I have like, I enjoyed it because it was the sort of repetition that was like I found incredibly satisfying. I know it's not a game for everyone, I stopped because I started working on this costume. So I do plan to jump back in like fully tomorrow.
Fran.
For the record, anybody watching,
Yeah, you don't have to
Kev, no,
justify.
Kev, do you want to tell them what you are? Because without the headpiece, I don't know if it plays as much.
I'm Loki.
Here you go. Here we go. He's got the headpiece. There you go.
There you know
It is
it's
Halloween, even though you're watching this on November.
Yeah. So, Fran, how far are you and how long have you played?
Yeah, I'm about 45 hours in. I'd actually say I played almost like 50. You know, I think some
Sure.
of the things it doesn't count. And then from what I understand, I'm like maybe a little over halfway through it.
What chapter are you in?
Chapter 5 or 6, I
Okay.
forget. Probably 6. Yeah, I don't know. Should we say how many chapters it is?
I don't mind. Well, I don't think it's embargoed. Is it the trophy list or anything like that?
I mean,
No,
does
it's
it
not
really, does it
embargoed.
really matter because they're all so.
They're
ridiculous
different. I mean,
anyways.
there's 14 chapter trophies.
There you go.
So that's like the way
So
I was
that'll give
gauging
you-
my progress as I went through.
Yeah, it's not all even. So anyway, I'm going to guess I'm like a little over halfway based on what I played, but I honestly don't know. That's where this discussion will get interesting. But 45 hours for me.
I feel like I'm getting close to being done with chapter 3.
Okay.
And I'm about 38 hours in.
God,
Just keep, yeah, this is where it gets interesting.
I'm so jealous of you guys. So jealous of you.
Why?
Oh,
Oh,
we'll
it's
get to me.
yeah,
We'll get to
save
me.
it.
I finished the game last night at 47 hours and 59 minutes.
Yeah.
And yeah, I beat
round up, man.
I beat the game last night at 37 hours.
Yeah.
Because with the embargo coming, I was doing. You guys are playing the game the way I want to play the game, the way I think everybody should play the game in terms of go out and do it, right? Because you're going out and you have the main quest. This is what's going to progress the story. It's very clear. There's a star next to it and a wavy line through it to
Golden
signify
strand.
it. Yeah. And so, but like my first 9 hours, I was totally like, all right, cool, main quest, I'm accepting. And then, oh, okay, well, there's 3 other things to do. I'm going to go do all of these on the map. And then it was like, oh, man, took a stretch. I'm like, where am I? Oh, I'm in chapter 3 or whatever. Looked at the time, like, I'm 9 hours. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Like, and I looked at, like, the clock
The
countdown
math will
until
not
today.
add up here.
And I did it. I did the math. I was up till 4 a.m. last night, but I'm really surprised I did it because it dropped for me when we were on the Star Wars trip, and then we went to EGLX, and then I took a vacation to see my in-laws. So it was like, I did not have the normal way I wanted to play this
Yeah.
game.
So for me, I kind of rushed it as well.
Yeah.
But I started rushing it because I wasn't enjoying it.
Ooh, really?
That like as I started
Yeah,
playing,
hot
I'm like, I kind of just want to get done with this game, and it took so like
What time? At what chapter-ish do you think that kicked in?
Chapter 3.
Wow. Okay.
That was where I was
Wow,
like,
wow, wow.
okay, this is not moving forward fast enough. I just
Interesting.
want to keep going and see. I want to see where this story goes, but I don't want to play any more of it. So there was still, God, that was maybe like 15 hours.
That was a lifetime ago.
Yeah. And then like I took breaks because I like if I was enjoying the game, I would have just kept playing. But I was
Yeah.
like, I'm not really enjoying this. I want to go do something else. I had Outer Worlds to finish and After
yeah,
Party and
yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I played those games and I enjoyed them more. And then I came back to this and I'm like, this game. It just kind of went through. And people have a tendency to get very mad at me because I'm negative on this
Have your
podcast.
own opinion. It shouldn't
For the
matter.
record,
No,
people
Right.
tend to get mad at everyone
But meaning-
on the internet for having an opinion, good, bad, or otherwise.
I
So-
love that you're going to have a different take.
I at the end of the day, if I had to say whether I like this game or not, I would probably veer towards I did not like it. And we'll get into the reasons why.
And
in a bit.
I'll tell you right now, I'm so excited for this discussion because we have not discussed it. And
Yeah.
I am so,
Yeah, we haven't-
so
Yeah.
excited for
Me
tonight
too.
when this
Right.
publishes. Because I want to read everyone's review.
Yeah.
Because this game is going to
gonna
be,
be polarizing.
all over the map, I feel
Think
like.
'Cause, like,
pieces left and right.
Right.
We've had those discussions here in the office of, hey, are you still playing? What do you like? How do you feel? And like, they're mostly discussions of bafflement, of like, oh, I just did this thing, or like, hey, I don't really know how I think about it quite yet. And like, we haven't really talked about whether or not we like it in
Right.
this office for
So-
since then.
Yeah, so I don't know how you want to do this, Tim, but I feel like the first question is, but you tell me, is like, what is Death
So
Stranding?
that's the thing is I have a lot of listeners wrote into patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. So I do have some top level questions like that I think are going to be
Yeah, 'cause we
good
said we
conversation
all
starters
played it.
here. Matthew from the Isle of Man says, "Good day to you all. I have a burning question about Death Stranding. What the fuck is it?"
That's the hot question.
What is the Death Stranding or what is the game?
We'd love to tell you.
What's the game?
The
Great.
game is that you are.
What do you do?
You're a delivery man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like in my conversations I've had with other people who are in the game and other reviewers, right? Or even people who are in the industry who have talked to other reviewers. It's been this conversation of like, yeah, I hear really it gets good or picks up after 8 hours, and I'm immediately like, if you don't like the first 8 hours of this game, you are not going to like this game, because this game does not at any point turn the corner and become Metal Gear. This game is, you are Norman Reedus. You know what I mean? You are
I do know what you mean.
You are Sam Porter Bridges. You are out to connect America via the chiral network. You are working your way across by running jobs and delivering things to different people, which makes the gameplay about how am I going to get from point A to point B, which literally you open up your map, and I did it every time for my missions at least.
Constantly.
Open up the
Go
map
on.
Where
and
am I
draw
going?
my own lines and like look at this terrain and figure out the easiest way. All right, I'm going to go through a mountain, so I better get a climbing rope. I better bring a ladder. Eventually you unlock different power or leg armor and stuff like that helps you walk on different terrain or run faster, this kind of thing. So it was like, what do I need? It was very much picking your loadout, but not picking your loadout necessarily for combat. There is combat, there is engaging with enemies, but it really is about the combat of the terrain. It is about traversal.
Yeah, you literally, it's this amazing landscape experience that is built on the Decima engine, the Horizon Zero Dawn engine.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing at that. The smell of the game, as I have talked about in the past. Red Dead Redemption 2 is the first one I pulled that out on, but it has this like incredible world that is in front of you. And so when you start the game, you're like, it's like this like bleak moonscape, whatever. I've seen it in the trailers, like
Post-apocalyptic
yeah,
Earth, right?
and
Yeah.
you literally, they're like, hey, here's a couple steel cases, put them on your back and go over there. You're like, okay, and you put them on your back and you're like, fine, and then you're like, whoa, and you like lose your balance, and you're like, wait, I hit the L and R triggers to balance myself, like, okay, and then you go out onto this terrain and you literally just walk, your stamina's going up and down, and you like, it starts raining and you realize that affects you, and then
That
you
eats through
literally
your packages,
walk and walk and walk and try to keep your balance. And then there are things that expand on how you do this.
Of course.
And that's where the game progresses, but it is long. And before, I go deeper into that stuff, I would say if you want to play this game, who said it was an art game? Was it you or
Tim
what?
did, but I mean, definitely that's at the top of my list of talking about what this game is.
It's like shackles off. Kojima didn't have to answer to anyone really, and was like, I just, him and the team are like, I want to do something weird, and man, is it weird. But you, like maybe a good book or good movie, you can't do part of it. I would say you need to play this game for like 50 hours before, in my personal opinion, if you really want to judge it. I wouldn't judge it based on the first 5 hours because it is a slog intentionally. So I don't know how you guys
That's
feel
the
about
thing,
that,
though. Like, when video games do the intentional slog, the intentional bullshit kind of thing, I don't know that it excuses it for being a slog bullshit.
Depends on the player. Because the
Yes,
reward
no,
for
I'm
wait.
out.
Right. And that's, that's my
the
point.
beginning is a slog, and all the things that I thought were cool, the story elements, because they pretty quickly, I would say, like towards the end of chapter 1, beginning of chapter 2, they introduce all of the America stuff and
Right.
like the
stuff we've
status
seen from
quo,
trailers, yeah.
a lot of stuff in the trailers, and it's just like I was pleasantly surprised how quickly we got to see all that stuff. And I was like, all right, cool, let's go. But then it's just like the balancing and stuff. It's like there's a lot of people saying, yeah, but is the game fun?
No.
I don't think
I don't-
I
absolutely
don't think
not.
games need to be fun necessarily, but I feel like if they're not going to be fun, they need to.
It needs to
like,
not be 50 hours.
It needs to make sense a bit, and I pretty quickly could tell this game's not going to make sense story wise. And from talking to people, that sounds like the case.
It makes all right sense. Like, it's Kojima bullshit. It's anime, honestly. Like, it.
It's very Japanese,
Yeah.
right? And I think in terms of how they present things, how characters give you exposition. I mean, granted, that's Kojima, and Kojima is Japanese, so it all makes sense. But it is that thing of, it's this weird juxtaposition of all these American actors, American faces, people we know, right, that you'd expect to see in a movie or do whatever, performing, a live-action anime that isn't live-action, but you understand what I mean.
It's not a movie. It's a Netflix TV show where at the end of every episode, somebody has their own little arc where they exposit their backstory to you, and then it ends. And then
the
they
episodes
talk
are
about
like,
it.
most episodes are titled the character it's about, right?
Yeah.
So it is about Deadman. It is about, whoever you're going through.
That said, one of the things I really think is I'm very positive about this game is holy shit, the acting is great.
Right, yeah.
Like,
Mads
so-
Mikkelsen.
Overall,
man. Mads
Mads
fucking
is freaking
Mikkelsen. Are you
awesome.
kidding me, dude?
Who's the
Baby.
guy who plays Die Hard Man? Tommy Earl
Jenkins.
Yeah. He's not like a movie star. He does like, I think, TV really.
He's fantastic.
Yeah, of the stars in this game, he is not the biggest one. He is, I think, the best actor in this entire game.
His
really
performance,
good.
throughout this.
He's so
thing.
consistent.
And like when we do his chapter and the way his thing ends.
He's
Again,
constantly giving you directives. He's that guy.
Again, I'm only through. I haven't even finished chapter 3, but I'm at the point where I don't care about any of these characters yet.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't,
yeah.
which
I
is-
guess
I don't
chapter 3,
know
chapter
much about them. I haven't latched on to anybody. There hasn't been anybody that popped out. I'm like, I love interacting with this person because they're fun or their lines are quippy. They got to like. There's none of that really for me yet.
They don't do a good job of that because they like.
Right.
It's the difference between like a codec call and I guess whatever like they actually the hologram thing they have
Yeah.
in there.
Right.
I don't get a sense of anybody's personality or like latch onto their design or anything until they actually have their own chapter.
And I think, that's the interesting thing about it, where I do envy you guys having, or the way you're playing it, because it's the way I would have wanted to play it without a deadline or embargo. I feel though the way I did it did ingratiate these characters with me. Certain ones, obviously, where I was like, I like Deadman.
Some
a lot.
are better written than others.
Yeah, I like Deadman. I like Heartman. You know what I mean? Like,
it could be because I have gotten so grindy with the stuff that I'm really enjoying. Really enjoying the gameplay loop.
Yeah.
And maybe that has pulled me further and further away from these characters that I otherwise would be interacting with on a more normal basis.
Yeah.
Like I've interacted way more with kind of like the 3 main people in the middle region. The craftsman and the engineer and
The
all like
woodsman, right?
I've gotten to know these people a lot more because I've gotten so addicted to that gameplay loop,
Sure.
and it's so fun and it's so satisfying to me. But I was telling, like, when I first talked to everybody in this room about the game, I think what I said was like it's a TV show when people say, "Oh, dude, just wait until season 4. That's when it gets going."
Yeah.
Like if you drop out before that, I cannot blame anybody for dropping out early in this game because it isn't very fun at the beginning for me at all. I think like maybe 2 hours in, I was thinking like, "Fuck, this,
Yeah.
this is a miss for me. This is a miss, and I love Kojima. This is a huge miss for me." Until I got into
the rhythm.
the rhythm of towards the end of chapter 2 episode 2 going into episode 3, that's where I found a lot of enjoyment, and that I discovered the systems more, and it became that like every side quest I want to do that now. Where I like progressing the story, who gives a shit? I want to build out this highway. I'm addicted to this.
For me, it was like I got an email from Jeff Keighley saying, not like in the game, saying,
I was like, wait,
"Hey, can you
really?
deliver this
Luden's
like
fan.
this
Luden's
action
fan.
figure to someone else?" I'm like, "Oh, cool! I got an email quest, a named quest. I'm probably gonna get like some cool dialogue or something interesting is gonna happen." It's like, no, it was just the same path I've gone on over and over. So if this is the level of side quest in the game, why am I doing it? And like that was kind of my realization of, maybe I should just main story this because it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of interesting stuff in the side quests.
Yeah, it's worth noting why. Why do you do that? You start to realize that in addition to this grind for a status, getting liked, which is a whole different discussion, it's bling, like. This Facebook social commentary thing that's going on, which is awesome coming from Kojima.
But is it so-
But
Okay.
save that for later. My point is, it's worth noting. Doing these side quests, you get some stuff pretty fast. Sometimes you're like, hey, I found this.
Hey, thanks
thing
for doing
you.
this. Here's this thing I'm
and
holding
it's
on
this
to.
upgrade
Made a
thing.
new gun.
You're like, oh, actually, I totally want. That's where I started to get the grind.
Yeah, power armor
this
level 2.
this guy's a
thing.
craftsman. This guy's making gadgets
Yeah.
for me. Oh shit! What else can I
Yeah.
get out of this guy?
This guy's a doctor.
What else
Maybe
can
it
I get
affects
out of
my
this
health.
relationship?
Exactly, and that is where I started. The side quest did become rewarding. Also, there are elements that it's not just the exact same path every time. As the game progresses, you get different time falls. Time fall is this toxic rain that I don't know if we want
Speeds up time.
Yeah,
when it
speeds
hits
up
you,
time.
whatever.
And
Yeah,
it
eats
ruins
through your
things
packages.
in the world.
Yeah, your packages have
Yeah.
2 different meters on them, right? Where it's the container, how much damage that
Yeah.
can take, and then the package inside itself.
It is punishing, but you'll be like in the middle of the delivery, you got a container in your back, you get hit with a massive time fall, and it's a side quest. You're delivering like energy drinks to this old dude, and this is the game by and large. And you stop, you go out, if you like the game, just to illustrate the point, you will either stop and build something to help yourself. You will find like a crevice to go under and spray your cargo with like
Your
a
repair kit,
time
yeah.
repairing
Yeah.
spray that runs out. It is so punishing. I think those are the people
But then
that like
it's
it.
the thing, right, where it's the grind of it. Whereas you go through and like you have, your PCC, right, that you can use to create things on the fly. As you, it starts with very much like you can have a locker, and I was like, why the hell would I ever make a locker, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you have a charger. Okay, that makes sense for my power armors, my car, my
Yeah.
trike. Okay, great. And then eventually a timefall shelter, right, where you can build that and run to it, and then you know,
You
this
can
is-
upgrade those pieces too.
Of course, and then also the idea of how online does work, and the fact that this is a desolate, lonely game you're playing until it's not, and you run into. Right now, it's easy because we're all playing it for review. So I saw, oh, there's Danny O'Dwyer's thing. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
seeing people I know, but even when I'm not seeing other people's name structures that they've put down, and me hitting the like button, not even as like the like joke or whatever, but like really like, oh man, this saved my ass.
Yeah,
Thank
let's
you for
keep
putting
this.
this here.
Yeah, the most fun I've had in that game was like Vinny Caravello, Giant Bomb, and I were basically building highways, even though we never interacted. I would just see his name, like he used your paper.
Yep.
And I find his, and I start
auto
putting
paper.
like things to that too.
Yeah.
Like that's fun. That is like building a world together.
Yeah.
I think honestly, this game is a little too guided. Like if it didn't have that story stuff, it was just like if it was a Rust style whatever.
Yeah.
I think that would be more interesting than what the actual game turned out to be.
So Juan Lobo writes in and says, I have one simple yet charged question for the game. Is it fun? And now, Fran, you're Mr. Gameplay. Is the,
I mean, I think
is
we
the
all, but
game,
I always say that,
But
yeah.
you are the guy that you don't care about story.
Yeah,
you
I
care
can tell you,
about
I don't care
gameplay.
as much about the story.
How does the gameplay hold up in this?
It's like Andy was saying that I was in like chapter 2. I think they're called episodes, by the way. Episode 2.
And you're playing on hard.
Playing on hard mode.
You can
Yeah.
switch at any time.
I have some questions about that for later. So you can switch at any time. It'll restart you at your last
Hard
save.
mode, man.
But I am playing in hard mode. I don't
Die
know
hard
the
mode.
differences yet, but it, again, there you go. I love gameplay. I love when it's punishing and a game says, Super Metroid's one of my favorite games of all time because you get somewhere, you see a door, and you're like, crap, like I want to get in there, and like, how do I get it? You figure that out later. This is a little different in that you want to go places fast, and you're like, but I'm just walking slow. But you start to get these upgrades and learn. I would say the skill gap is pretty good in that I'm like 40 hours in and I'm starting to be like, oh yeah, I got this. Now I'm gonna go fast here. I'm gonna build this thing. And I'm 40 hours in and I'm learning new ways where I feel like an advanced player. And so anyway, on that front, I'm getting into this grind of, it almost feels real. I know this might sound crazy. I'm curious what you guys think. The world became batshit crazy. Like Kojima, like what is this about? I still don't understand what a Stranding is. You guys explain it to me. That's where I'm at with the story. But the world starts to become real. The characters become real. And just like running from A to B, I start to feel this world is like so real. And I want to help it progress. And I want to progress. So anyway, the gameplay it's still super punishing.
Is it fun?
But it is fun when you fall into this desire to want to get better and to do things better. So yeah, it is just walking from point A to point B, and you might fall over. But as you learn how to combat that or like build these roads, it really gets in your bloodstream.
Andy, is
I
this
don't
game
know.
fun?
For me right now, yes, absolutely. Like I'm to the point where I was just telling Tim, I wish Outer Worlds wasn't out because I'm loving Outer Worlds.
Yeah.
And I want to play that game more, but I'm really enjoying Death Stranding. At the start of it, no. I wasn't finding any fun with it until I got maybe about 10 hours in or so.
Yeah.
And it's that it became the thing I got addicted to in Phantom Pain with building out Mother Base
Yeah,
and
yeah.
fulting out soldiers. And
Let's go get special materials. Let's go get
knowing what
this
materials
stuff.
you need to grab, knowing that this soldier is really, really good. Like I got into that gameplay loop where I got so addicted to building out this highway in the middle section of America, where I saw this first little pod and I was like, oh, you build out thing, and then it created a road. I was like, oh, I mean, why even use this road? Like I won't fall on it, but big deal.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, the power legs you use don't use battery when you're on that road. Okay. Well, how much is the next piece? And then I started seeing these mule camps, and the mules are
The bad guys.
The bad guys. These kind of crazy. Well, some of the bad guys. These kind of crazy former porters, delivery
Let me stop
people.
you. Yeah. So like obviously there's the Troy Baker character. There's the Mads
Pigs.
character. You've seen these. You know that they're like big baddies or whatever, right? Then I would say in the world, right? There's the mules, which would be basically people who are out there. They have their camps. You see them on the map with the giant yellow circle. They're bad porters.
Porters gone bad. They're
there to
thieves.
take down porters and take their packages, right? They're the human-based bad guys, whereas then the other bad guys would be the BTs, which is of course those shadowy figures we've seen hanging in the sky, and then the black tar monsters coming out of the ground and grabbing you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
With that,
Yeah, we haven't
comparing
talked
it
about BTs.
comparing it to Metal Gear at
We're still
all.
not through if it's fun.
One of my favorite things about Kojima games and about Metal Gear games is the boss characters and kind of the building up to these like larger than life characters that you have face offs with.
Yeah.
Is that in this game?
In a form.
Yeah.
There are boss fights. Some of them resemble Metal Gear fights. One of them resembles a Metal Gear fight almost like litigiously
Yeah,
close.
yeah,
To the
yeah.
point where like, oh, you just did the exact same thing again.
But when it happened, I was like, okay, this is cool. Because it was so
Yeah.
different. And then I was like, it kind of hung on until a little bit too long. Where I was like, this
There's
would
like-
I wish it was over.
Yeah,
but
why does
like-
this have like 3 phases? It
Exactly.
needed
Yeah,
one.
yeah. But yeah. But it was still a cool thing when it popped up.
But yeah, if you're looking for like, oh, this is the equivalent of the Virtuous Mission, like the bosses, group.
Yeah.
There's not that.
I'm glad that there's not the Metal Gear Solid 4 or there's not like the team of villains you're worried about, right? I think
Beauty and the Beast.
I think having it be that, hey, here's Mads and here's Troy
Higgs.
is great. And I think as we're talking about the acting, both those performances are great.
Yes.
And Troy, like, obviously we all know Troy's great and we all love Troy and Troy's a friend of Kind of Funny. I thought he fucking destroyed
killed
this.
us.
And
He's
it's
awesome.
and it's one of those rare things where he's not hiding behind anything, right? They map him just like they map Mads. So like Troy's face, as you might have seen in the trailer, is in the game, and Troy is playing this character,
Yeah.
and he is fucked up, and he is weird, and he does weird shit.
He chews the scenery like no one had ever seen in a video game.
Yeah, and he fucking crushes. And so like I'm happy there isn't this giant like cast of characters, and it is here are the 2 guys we're following, and how do they work, what's happening, and what's really going on.
Yeah, and I would just say overall, where I'm at episode 6, it's just not a boss-driven type game. You hit encounters. Now
Honestly-
that might
sorry,
change
go ahead.
later.
Yeah, I was gonna say
They're boss fights.
Yeah, but
and I
meaning overall, you don't run into a lot of bosses. Is all I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, like at a certain point for me, I got so tired of like walking through BT sections, I would just let myself get caught,
Right.
and kill the BT.
Interesting.
Because like I'm just like, okay, well this
Yeah, it's
clears
easy
it up
now.
for a while. It always annoyed me that it doesn't clear it up for more than 5 minutes.
But you were trying to cheat, so
Is it
caught
long,
onto that?
Is it longer than when you clear out a mule section? A section of
No.
mules, which are the human enemies.
It is like literally you could kill a BT go through an area, then immediately come back through an area and it would still be BT'd up again.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's
'Cause
like this is tedious.
I
to
feel
do
like
it
when
again.
you would take down the mules, those sections stay
Yeah.
open
'Cause
for a long
that
time.
actually does open up the area for porters to come through and all
Yeah.
that stuff. Killing a BT doesn't really do anything besides clear it up for about 5 minutes.
Gotcha. Okay. So just really quick, back to the Mother Base stuff. Like that's what that sort of grind reminded me of a lot, and I really enjoyed it. Where I'm in the middle of section of America, and there are kind of these 3 big mule areas where the bad guys, the bad porters, are around, and that's kind of like their hangout section. And you see them walking around, and they're just doing their thing or whatever. But I got so addicted to knowing that I wanted to keep on building this road to see where it went, and knowing that it was going to help me. And then I started. So I would go to this camp and I would take them all down, and I was like, "Oh, I can drive their fucking truck! Holy shit!"
steal it.
So I put. So they have a giant truck that's almost like a SUV thing, and now I am stealing all of their materials that they have, their metals, their cool things that I need to build out more things. Put them all in the truck. Delivered them to the next little piece that would continue building out this road.
Yeah, now you
and
have,
I was
like,
like, I can go to all these encampments
mass
now
delivery.
and keep taking out these things. And then also where you're doing that, you get that cool satisfaction of, oh, when I take out this camp, the enemy mules now have freedom to come in and just roam and steal shit for themselves, as well, for us, for the good people again. And I'm continuing to build out this road, and then I unlocked the vehicles. I unlocked a little motorcycle that you could
Yeah,
build.
the trike.
Yeah.
The trike, and it's like,
Reverse
oh
trike.
shit, it doesn't use battery when it's on the center. It's like an energy road,
Yeah.
kind of. This is fucking cool. And I just kept, and I got in that loop where that's what I did for like 2 straight days, up
You
until like
just
6
building.
in the morning. And I got so addicted to it, and it felt great because not only was I building out this road, but I would find things on the way that I would take to these NPCs that you find in the world.
Yeah.
The craftsmen, the people that would build things for you, they'd be like, "You're doing a great job, man. You know what? I built out this new thing. Oh, by the way, the porters that are going out there, our porters that are going to gather materials, you're helping out a lot." And it sounds so stupid, but it's like it's social media. And
is.
the narcissist in me is like, I'm getting likes for doing all this
Oh,
cool
totally.
shit, and I'm building out this road, and other players are enjoying that I'm helping out this thing.
That's
And
the weird thing about this game,
yeah,
right?
it
is that
sounds so cheesy. Like we are connecting everything, and like I didn't expect it.
It's Sam Porter not being Solid Snake, just being a delivery guy. I mean, obviously, not obviously, I don't want to say that. It rings to me so much of Dead Space, where Isaac Clarke was never meant to be the hero. He was an engineer on the space station. All shit, everything went to hell, and he had to fucking fix it, right?
It doesn't stay that way.
Yeah, well, I know exactly. But as you're going through, right, and you're talking to these people and delivering their packages in the parts of the game, and they start building this legend around who you are and how you're able to go do this and just deliver these packages. Eventually, that is one of my complaints. I enjoyed the boss battles when they were more about get the hell out of here, run and hide, go do this. Eventually, it does turn a corner where it is more Metal Gear-y, where it is like, oh, I have a rocket launcher. Oh, I have these assault rifles. Oh, I'm doing this, and I'm just fighting these giant things. When I'd be like, well, why not? Well, no, I liked it better when I felt like I was the underdog and I needed to get out of it.
Right, you feel like a human early on in that game, and then once you finally get to a point, like, you're just Solid Snake again.
Yeah.
But
So-
a way less iconic Solid Snake. That's one of my problem with Sam is that I just don't. I have no connection to him yet.
Well, because he doesn't talk for most of the game. Like, you'll talk to these holograms who will say things and ask you questions, but Sam's like, just stays quiet the entire time.
It's like they went with the what's his face
Kiefer Sutherland.
the Kiefer Sutherland approach, where kind of like a silent protagonist.
Does that change? Because when we were talking about the characters, and we still got to finish, you said it was fun or not?
Yes, right now I'm having a lot of fun with it. Yes,
We got 2 more to go, and I can't wait to get to Imran. But when you were talking about characters, I was like, yeah, the thing about Sam is I don't feel much for him, and that's who I am. And I wonder if that changes. Now, it's episode 6 of 14 or whatever. Does it change where there's a few scenes, right, where, say, a character dies or something, and I actually felt kind of like, oh, man. Do you ever feel that way about Sam without spoiling anything?
For me personally, at the end, yes.
Yeah.
I think
Towards the end.
I think Sam is. I agree with everything we said of that. He's super quiet, which makes it off-putting. There's major parts where I would be sitting there and it's happening. It's just like. And I'm not even talking shit, but I'm like, is this just all Norman Reedus can do? Like, I'm trying to run through my head Norman Reedus roles where I've seen him be something other than just the quiet, like, what the fuck? You know
There's
what
a
I mean?
scene in the game where, like, characters send Norman Reedus out of the room so they can have their own little vignette.
But by the real quick, by the end, I think it is a bit of that. All right, cool. Like, we don't want him talking too much because we don't want it's you're him. So how does it? At the end, there's decisions and things that happen in the story that I was like, oh, okay, and I did feel for him, and I did feel like
the game becomes better once it becomes more like Metal Gear, which is reductive. And I know Kojima shot his shot on this one, and this is absolutely a good execution of an idea that I personally think is really flawed. But when the game does become more movie-like and more cinematic and honestly a little bit more action-like, I think it's a better game for it.
interesting because I think it's the opposite.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So wait, is it fun, Imran?
I'll go back to my point once you're
go
done saying if it's fun or not.
He's trying to stop him from saying it's not fun.
I would say the best thing about Death Stranding, the best compliment I can pay toward it, is that I kept playing even though I didn't like the actual act of playing it. That it was tedious. It's probably one of the most tedious games I've ever played to completion. But I still was fascinated to see the rest of it. The is it fun, is it not fun question was something that came up last year with Red Dead Redemption 2, where I didn't think that game was fun at all. And please consider that when you consider my opinions on this too. But some people were saying, like, I don't think games need to be fun. Like, that Dragon Cancer is not necessarily fun, but it's a 2-hour experience versus a 50-hour one.
Fun is so subjective, though, right? It's like,
Sure,
was it
absolutely.
a good book, a good movie? Yeah,
was it a good experience? Sure. Was it a enjoyable experience? No.
Yeah, this reminds me a lot of my experience with The Last of Us, and even like some of the Uncharted's, where I was playing those games cutscene to cutscene. Didn't really enjoy the gameplay. Didn't have fun with those games. But they're some of my favorite games because of the story they're telling, because of the cutscenes. I'm still not super enamored with where this story is going so far, but I want to keep going because I know that there's going to be dumb, weird shit that really appeals to me. This is totally an art house movie that I walked out of and like, that was cool, but I don't know if I could tell anybody to enjoy this. I was talking to Greg like, this is not God of War 2018. This is not a game.
No.
This is not a game that I could show to any person who likes video games and be like, you have to play this.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it, but I don't know if I could broadly recommend it because it's such a weird niche game. I think it'll appeal to a lot of people who are into like Stardew Valley, like because of the
Joey bust through the wall.
Yeah. because of the crafting and because of like, that sort of inherent need to gather things and see the world grow around you and know that you are directly contributing to this growth.
Honestly,
It's a
I could
cool
see people
feeling.
who like MMORPGs could be really into this, or people who like games like Edith Finch could probably really be, not because it's a walking simulator, but because it's about personal stories.
Sure.
And you can find that in this game pretty easily. And you can also easily skip past all of it or not see it.
Yeah.
Or you could end up in weird experiences where the world seems a lot smaller because something you wanted to try didn't work.
Gotcha.
So this is going to be a very inflammatory question, but
Light it up, Tim.
do you think that
I'm on fire.
you hit a point with this game where you've just put so much time into it that you are convincing yourself that you liked the indie art movie even though you didn't?
No. Like I wouldn't have if I wasn't enjoying what I was doing, I'd probably be done with the game because I wouldn't have gotten so hooked on these activities, these sort of like very mundane tasks that I find really satisfying.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I've hit that. I really do enjoy it, but it is like, again, it's not something that I could broadly recommend to just a video game fan.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, right, it's the conversation. I'm so, again, excited for this review embargo to see what everybody thinks, because I do feel it is another Red Dead in the way that last year Red Dead 2 dropped, right, and I didn't like it. I didn't like Arthur Morgan. I did not like the mechanics of it and how I was like inundated in systems and stuff
Listen
like
here,
that.
Dutch.
This is the same thing. But I'm sorry. But with Red Dead 2 last year, if you remember, I was like, this is art. And I'm glad it exists. And I know it's not for me and it's not connecting with me. Death Stranding is the complete opposite for me, where I love this game. And from the onset, I was in. Like, I didn't have the moment of, I thought it is slow. I didn't have the moment of, like, when I was mad at Red Dead being slow, it was mad at, why can't I fucking run in camp? I just want to get over there. Let me get over there, right? That's not what Death Stranding is doing, right? This is a pace thing. And I was in the mood for it, even though I didn't know when I started, right? This is that, I always give that lame story, right? Or, like, metaphor of that. Video games are the silly putty, and they've been pulled in every direction now, right? And there's a game for any mood you're in. When people in the industry, other reviewers were, what do you think of it so far? This, that, and the other, talk to me about this. What I would say, not that I broke embargo PlayStation, was like, well, do you like walking and listening to the rain? And it's like, I do. And I don't know, this game's unlike anything I've ever played. And I know that it eventually gets more Metal Gear-y and stuff like that. But to your point of, cool, I'm walking over a mountain and I'm holding L2 and R2 and I'm just very carefully navigating down this cliffside.
Now, the
and
snow's deep.
I'm hitting
Like-
R1 to look at the water levels to figure out if I can actually cross that. Oh, yeah, buddy.
can we not-
Spoilers. Yeah. Whiteout conditions, son.
I really dislike that part.
Yep.
Like, that was the point where I'm like, I don't like this game.
Oh, snow?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Can we talk about that as
Exactly,
a
it's
mechanic,
there
I
to-
guess?
Sure, yeah.
I
mean,
when you start walking up snow and when you lose stamina, you just start falling down, and the fall can go for like 5 to 6 seconds. So that is a significant amount of time you lose each time you fall.
You gotta upgrade your gear, son.
So that's the thing, is the gameplay loop is a very specific thing of you start thinking something is cool, and then at some point it starts becoming tedious, and then they introduce something to make it a little less tedious. So like one example that we can talk about is the mule pinging.
Right.
I still have not successfully done that.
Yeah, so the timing window is so open, you just need to, like, whenever you see orange, just hit it.
Okay.
But basically,
I listen when I'd be basically when you walk into a mule camp, they have these sticks in the ground, right? That if in the beginning, if you ping, it'll ping back at you, and then they'll also ping out there like a radar so that they can find you in the camp and have your location.
For those
Eventually, you get the upgrade though, where you can hit your R1, which is the BB sunflower on your shoulder, and that you use to ping and see things. If you ping it when you hear it or see it, you can cancel it out eventually so that they don't see you.
but like that was tedious before, and then they introduced a thing to make it less tedious. The mountain snow is one of those examples of, oh God, this sucks so much to walk past, but if this is what they're going for, I'm interested in the fact that they committed to it. Then at, like, I don't know, maybe somewhere in the next chapter, or they go, okay, well, here's a thing that just makes that better. Like,
See, I both those examples I liked. And I know that's weird, right? And I know, and like same thing for BTs. Now I didn't do for me again, golden pathing it. Let's get this review done. Like I was very much going through BT things like on my straight journey across America. So I was rarely doubling back and running into the same areas and stuff. But specifically like the snow, it's weird because I was talking to another reviewer, right, who was just like, I hate this game. And the baby won't stop crying to the point that I turned off. I sent it to the speaker and I turned off the controller. And I was like, My
The
baby
baby was
never
crying?
cries.
Really?
My baby never
If
cried.
you fall a lot and you're
Mine
not,
was crying
you're
a
not
lot.
I
soothing
never
it,
felt like I never had.
I felt like
because I would always just because I don't do the right or left balance. You just hold both.
yeah, and you go slower. You go slower
gotta
and
slow
you do
down.
your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I fell
that's
for
what I
like
did too.
really dumb reasons of like, oh, I think I can make this small drop on this mountain cliff, and for some reason Norman Reedus would then take like a running start after he falls and then go into like another rock. It's like I didn't intend to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
It just
it's a
did it.
slope. He's got momentum because of the cargo. Like,
But
I
like
know-
it doesn't look like it's supposed to have momentum. It just looks like he fell on it wrong, or like you get off on a motorcycle on a slippery rock.
Yeah.
and like then you're gonna just trip over and drop all your shit.
The
It's by
baby
no means-
crying is horrible. It is from the mic. It sounds so screechy and bad. Where it's just like that's not the game's
I had it
fault.
through-
That's the controller's
I had it
mic's
through the
fault.
TV
It's like,
the whole time.
these people, the hardware designers, need to stop putting mics on controllers unless they're going to be quality mics. Yeah, speakers.
Yeah.
But you can
it's-
change that in the settings, by the way. If you didn't know that, you can actually put it on your TV.
I did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, it was just like this. It was so screechy.
Yeah.
Get good, son.
The amount
Get
of-
better at walking and taking
the-
care of a baby.
Yeah.
The amount of,
That's what the game is.
But for real, that like, and I'm full stop, and I totally justified criticism. Don't get me wrong, I love
Yeah.
this.
this is a pregnancy home ec thing. Of
For
like,
me, it
don't
was
destroy
like-
the egg.
I rarely ever had the BB cry. Like
I
it
mean,
was,
it cried once for me, and I was like, I'm done. Like,
that's when you're
what
like,
it
I'm
was.
done playing this
I don't
game.
want
Goodbye.
kids.
Yeah, no, it was yeah, exactly.
Mine only cries around BT stress for the
Yeah,
most part.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
kind of sucks too, because like, oh, the baby. What? How do you pronounce the autosomnia?
Huh?
Autosomnia.
Oh yeah, no. Come on,
Like-
you're asking Greg Miller how to pronounce that.
There's a thing that happens to your BB if it gets too stressed out, and then it has to be taken care of in a private room somewhere else.
Oh, like the anemic state.
yeah,
you're
yeah,
talking about.
that.
Yeah.
It's sometimes like he'll be totally fine as you go into a BT area, but something will happen, and you just can't get it solved before you leave.
It's okay that the baby cries though. It's fine. You know, you don't have to
Soothe
fix it. Yeah, and you can. You can. That's what's crazy about this game is you develop an actual attachment to that. At first, I was like, "There's no way I'm
Yeah.
rocking this baby," and I'd be in the middle of a fight. I took care of like one of the BTs. Yeah. Oh, and we should talk about it. You can choose the rocket with the.
Oh, I
the
do six
the
axis,
PlayStation
yeah.
or me too.
So
six
I
axis.
was,
Oh, yeah.
I had
Six
that.
X is the only way to go with that.
Yeah.
I was doing that, and I was like checking Twitter on my phone. I didn't realize I was doing it at a weird angle, so I was like just shaking the baby. I was like,
like real-
baby
Like a
doesn't like
salt
that.
shaker.
Baby does not like when you shake
BB
it.
does not when you are distressing it in this fucking. Like,
It's weird how that mechanic. Like I feel like in the small amount of time I played, there was like I fell and like he started crying. So I like very carefully soothed it, and he gets to the point where like the baby kind of smiles and like
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
He'll
there's
give
a
you
little love
likes.
bubble.
Yeah.
and it's just like this is weirdly good feeling.
So
Yeah.
that's the thing is, I feel like even though I only played a couple hours, like the game introduces a lot really quickly, and I think
Yeah.
that like I commend it for that. Where I feel like it does kind of get going fast. And one thing that I really did like was the like system, and like seeing people like social networky style leave stuff around that you can like. I wanted to like things. I wanted to do that. A question was written in here from Danny D. When Kojima said we were already playing the game, was he telling the truth or was it just marketing hype? Not sure how much you could tell given it's not widely available yet, but I'm curious as to see how social this game really is. The demonstration of finding things placed by others in the open world was cool, but didn't seem like it would have that big of an impact on the experience.
I mean, it has
a huge impact
yeah,
for me.
Huge
It is
impact.
basically the core of the game, honestly.
Yeah, you want to play
I
it
think it's the
online. Don't
backbone
play it
of
offline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking to Tim about this where I was purposely going to areas and it kind of has that again I've only seen people play Souls games, but I know about the warning system. I know
Yep.
about the Mario
The
Maker
signs,
system
yeah,
about
yeah.
like putting and I loved like there's BTs on it.
Yep,
Put
you're
that little
walking.
BT
You're
sign.
heading over there, and then
Yeah.
there's the ghost symbol. Like, oh crap.
Or
But yeah,
on a
there's-
long walk, I'd be like, you know what? There haven't been any battery charges in a while. Let me put one down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then because I know it'll be helpful for other people as well. And
For me, it was always-
sure enough, it was, and I'd get likes on it.
I mean,
It's
that
like,
said, it's also Dark Souls in that way. It's like
oh, that's
leaving
what I
it-
mean. Yeah, Souls games. Yeah.
like it's not necessarily like the most revolutionary thing ever. It's a message system, which is cool, and I wish more games would do it. But it is also, like you said, the backbone of this game.
But there's two things. There's the message system, putting down signs
Yeah,
and requests for
the
things.
structure thing is the
structure,
actual
like
very
those-
cool thing.
Yeah, but just for those listeners, right? There's signs, and that's one thing is to get a like for your sign. Some of the signs actually
Restore your
reward
stamina.
stamina, or
Yeah.
you get a speed up for your bike. So you start putting stuff down as like a speed marker on a road. And you want to get those likes. You want to be the first to do it. The other side of it is when you build a structure and people like it because they're using it, but also it's a message to say, keep this, upgrade this. Things are going to deteriorate over time, by the way, and that's the part we haven't seen yet.
Also kind of sucks.
Some things, like I've had ladders show up on, you get all these notifications constantly. This is the social side they're talking about.
Okay, so there's an hour thing, because like towards the end of the game for me, it was these things are starting to deteriorate, and that was every message I got, like every 2 seconds is by the like this ladder is starting to deteriorate, and I'm like I don't care, I'm not going back there.
Yeah, and it's a little hard, I think, to find these things. I don't know if that's worth getting into, but things would start to deteriorate, and I'm like, I would love to go put a new ladder down. And I'm like, I'd look at the map, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, last night in Endgame, I started getting a whole bunch of those notifications, and it was just like, I'm in the middle of this. I don't know what you're talking about. I'll worry about the rest of it out there.
Seems like it's the 40-hour mark-ish.
Yeah,
because I've started getting that last night, where I've started getting notifications about certain, and immediately I'm worried, I'm like, fuck, those roads that I spent building.
Dude,
the roads
that
are
was
so
my
fun,
thing. Is like, I went off and did a whole bunch of missions and stuff, and when I doubled back to somewhere, and this is early on, but there was a road now basically connecting the entirety of the thing, and I jumped in. I was like, this is awesome.
It's so cool.
And then like end of the game, pretty much, right? I'm backtracking, and I went back there, and the roads had deteriorated. I was like, God, no, this is so great.
Yeah, so, we had something good going here, man.
There was actually like it kind of bothered me that there was a civic place by the south of Knott City distribution center where like that area is surrounded by canyons and whatever. So I put one bridge, and then I noticed somebody else put another bridge over another valley.
Yeah.
I was like, that made me feel good because it felt like we were actually a community trying to figure out our way over this really dumb design. And it was. When I went back there and the bridges were, or my bridge was there because like whatever, but the other guy's bridge was gone. I'm like, this actually sucks. It reminded me of Journey when I lost somebody at the end of the trip. I was like, that actually hurts from a multiplayer perspective, even though I never talked to this person.
Yeah.
So I'm like, God damn it, God of Lore, you did great.
Dude, God of Lore is all over mine.
Yeah,
too,
God of Lore is everywhere.
I didn't see Greg once. I didn't see you
I
once.
saw Greg once. You liked one of my things at one point.
Oh, did I?
I don't know if I saw
I don't know
any of
your
y'all's.
username is probably why.
It's just Imran678. Like,
No, I haven't seen that.
Why not 69?
There's that one area in the south of Knott City or whatever. Or no. The one where goddamn Edgar Wright is at. I forgot. Edgar Wright's like NPC.
Yeah, I
know
saw
what
him in
you're
the credits.
talking
I didn't see him in the game because I was like,
Okay, he's one of the main guys. Like he's at one of the main
was he?
distribution
Maybe
centers.
I just don't know what Edgar Wright looks like.
He's got the mustache with the disconnected beard or whatever.
Oh,
Anyway.
he looks like you.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a guy. I took a screenshot the first time I ran into that guy because I was like, it looks like him.
Yeah.
This looks like him.
Yeah, so there's an area there that there have been several times that I'm like, I can make this jump with the speed boost on the motorcycle.
Yeah,
and
that's him.
And I never do. It's actually that third photo right there, Kevin. That's like almost exactly the image.
Yeah, it looks like.
oh, he was that guy.
So-
Yeah, he was
But wait,
that
so
guy. Yeah.
Maybe just to answer the question as well, like the social element is this: if you want to play offline, it's gonna suck in the sense of like.
You'll be at
really hit these
disadvantage.
points where you're like, crap, I need a ladder. You do not want to go all the way back. That is not fun. And seeing other people that have built stuff, you're like, yeah. And also realizing that you might have had an idea and you're like, wait, that's definitely a better place to put this. It's just a really cool experience. And I also wanted to just clear up, it is not an MMO. They're not people walking around. It's also a limited, we don't know exactly, but there's a limited server capacity of how many things and people you'll
How
see
they're
on
pulling
it.
it.
Like
Yeah.
chiral network. Or
Explains why I never saw Greg. I don't know if there's a chance of him showing up, but again, it's not like this.
I was in the Khalif Adams world.
It's not like we all share the same world, is my point. There's servers and things that will
I saw
deteriorate
like
over time.
one of your generators once. And that was it.
I saw Khalif stuff and I saw Danny O'Dwyer stuff, but I never saw any of y'all.
Well,
so.
I never saw your stuff, Andy. So.
I'm kind of a piece of shit because it was literally like, you
were
guys have
taking-
built everything. I don't need anything.
You were the take a penny, not the give a penny
I'm
guy.
not giving a penny.
Yeah.
I dropped a few chargers. That's what I
Okay,
always seem to
gotcha.
need the most.
That's exactly the amazing part about it is it allows you to play the game that way where you didn't need to build because other people did legitimately. And that's the difference. If you had to build all that stuff, it would have really slowed you down. It really would.
There was a cool moment last night where I after a very long mission and like trekking through a lot of BT territory, which let's talk about that a little bit after this because it's so like intense and I think it's cool. But I got to an area that's pretty far out and pretty desolate, and there wasn't really much around there. I was not on the chiral network. I finally brought them online, and when I brought them online, I was like, dude, my leg pack is super low. And I hope I have the materials I need
battery?
in order to buy. Yeah, the battery on my leg pack is very low. My boots are really worn down. Like I hope I have enough things to build something here.
Yeah, you're in trouble, basically.
But
You're
then,
like, oh, God.
but then when I walked out of the facility, now that it was brought online to the chiral network, things that people had built had spawned.
Right.
So there was a battery charger there.
Yeah, yeah.
There was a base here that I could go underneath and like rest in or whatever. And I was like, that's fucking cool.
It's good you brought that up because the game. Just for clarity, right? When you start to connect, you don't see all the stuff that other people built. So you actually are
have to get 'em on the
relatively
network, yeah.
helpless. I think there might be some limited things, like you'll see some player stuff regardless of.
I
being
think
on
I think the
network.
game
can't
has
remember.
default stuff. I played it all the way offline.
Actually,
I
Some
want-
characters do have like their own thing. Like early on in the game, you see like Igor and
Igor
Yeah,
is
there's
all
some
over.
porters.
So
Yeah.
I think it is that if you played completely disconnected from the internet, that the game would spawn.
There's some
certain things
NPC
in there.
ports,
I mean,
Yeah.
But-
for the little I played, there was ropes for me. There was like things, and
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
there's no way that someone left this.
And also,
here
one
for
thing
me
I want to say
besides the designers.
is good about it is that Kojima did convince Sony to not charge for any of that, so you don't have to be on PS Plus to actually play. it
Oh,
online.
I didn't know.
Oh,
that.
that's
That's
cool.
awesome.
That's
But
very
anyway,
cool.
so the incentive for going and connecting to places, yes, once it's brought online, you see all these signposts and stuff that people built, and it changes immediately around you, like Andy's saying.
It's called the chiral network, and you got to,
You bring it online.
We compare it to a cell phone network. Like when you go down to this very this small base, really south on the map, and it's not connected to anything, but maybe there's an NPC there. It's like, nah, man, y'all are terrorists. I don't agree with what you're doing, but maybe
You do
bring
a few
something over
missions for
here.
me, yeah,
do a
yeah.
few missions, and I'll find
that's
like
the-
some faith in what you're doing.
Well, that's one of the cool things about the way they set it up is that, especially with me, like powering through, like when you're looking at the network and you're going through sections, like slices that are offline, it was like I wanted to bring them online to have the stuff there to be able to use whatever abilities I could to, charge
To
and
see
put
yeah,
more
because you
warnings.
stuff
can't.
there. Yeah.
You
I
also
kinda-
can't build if it's not online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another interesting mechanic.
I kind of don't like the lack of nuance in that, though. This goes into writing a little bit, but the fact that they're trying to set up this argument of, do you trade privacy for convenience and security? Because there
Yeah.
are people who are like, I don't agree. I don't want to be on the network because I don't want the government watching me
I
for
don't
everything.
trust you all. Yeah.
And then it's like, oh well, actually, you delivered me two things. So
You brought me
They're
that
total
network, thanks.
pushovers.
Yeah,
which
okay.
like maybe that's a larger commentary about say Amazon or something. Who
Yeah.
knows? But it does kind of destroy the nuance of the argument a bit.
Or how we always just agree to every terms and service.
Yeah. Though speaking of writing, like that's kind of a thing I want to hit because there are parts of the game that I think are legit bad writing.
Yeah.
If you're worried, if people at home are curious, like, hey, has Kojima matured as a writer when it comes to women? Not really.
Yeah.
There are some really bad scenes in that game. Not as many as other games, but like he tries to take another bite at the quiet apple, and it doesn't work out great because the camera can't help itself in some of those scenes.
Oh, great. Yeah, we get more of that. I
Yeah.
haven't seen that yet.
There's
That's
like
interesting.
there's straight up a scene with Leia Sado that I was like, really? You're fucking doing this? Like, and
I don't think I've hit that yet.
like there are characters. There's some other characters that there's a pretty massive change in them, and then they don't talk about it ever again, really. And like, if this is a male character, you would have gone further with this. And it is
Do you
frustrating.
think it's better though?
The writing on a whole?
I mean, like it's comparing is to Quiet in particular.
Yeah, well,
right?
Quiet's like. It's better.
Bottom of the barrel.
Yes. he got better about a lot of things, but honestly, this is the kind of thing where he needs an editor.
Yeah.
He needs some people looking at his script and be like, okay, I understand what you're going for, but did we need her to be in her underwear in this scene? You know?
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. And Kojima might say, yes, we do. And someone needs to push back on that a little bit, like make the story prove that.
Has he only gotten better in the fact that we see Norman's butt?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the
If
time,
you
thank
want.
That's the
God.
one improvement.
The story does get into, like, if you want to explore Kojima's id, it's very Freudian towards the end. And it's a thing that, like, okay, I understand more about what he thinks of the world now. From that perspective, it's interesting. But, like, the character writing, we talked a little bit before about how characters just kind of exposit their backstory at you, and then they stop. They stop ceasing to have a character arc at that point. And they just kind of exist in the background. And I don't think it's necessarily all that great. I think the overall story is interesting and it's fascinating, and I want to know more about the world. And it'll tell you every single question you have is going to be answered in this game, maybe to a fault.
I do like the world building, and I do agree that it can be to a fault because it's as if like you're playing Metal Gear and there's like this crazy weird story and it's all very confusing, but like your buddy is constantly emailing you about exactly what's happening in the plot and who those characters are.
They literally say, so one character has a thing on them, and another character emailed me. It's like, hey, have you seen that thing on that character? I think it's a symbol for, and they explain the symbolism of the item.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why would you say that out loud? And they do that more than once.
In the emails?
do it. Yeah. Emails do. Sometimes in cutscenes they explain it. It's like, do you not trust the audience or do you not trust your story?
I haven't felt beaten over the head with that yet. But I haven't read a lot of the emails unless they're like yellow. There's like yellow.
Yeah,
highlight
the important
text.
emails.
Email,
Check
like
'em
you
out.
skim over a lot of it at some point because like there's
It's
so
a lot
much
to read.
And
But I kind of dig it, like you're right, because for the side quests I did do early on, I like getting the updates about it, like the married couple and like their
Yeah.
drama and troubles in this one.
who are they? Because it's like the
I
character-
gotta imagine she's someone famous.
Like she's a jet. Because I looked her up later when she was in the credits. I didn't. She was a model or something. But yeah, there's one vignette, and it's like the only thing in the game that I saw, at least on the main story, that's
Yeah.
like that is about a couple, and to the point where it's just about them for like 10 minutes.
It's a big part of that chapter.
Yeah, and then there's not really anything like that in the rest of the game.
yeah.
Are the
It
cameos
went on
cool?
for a while.
Yeah.
Are the cameos cool? Like, are there a ton of them?
There's a decent number.
You see their faces, but it's always a different voice.
You mean like
actor.
Edgar Wright or Conan
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
O'Brien or Jeff?
Yeah.
yeah.
It really does feel like a lot of the budget was spent on those cameos. Like the fact that every single distro center and area you like little post box area you go to for deliveries is exactly the same kind of sucks for like a AAA game. Like at some point they should be way more varied. There's a couple of exceptions.
What do you mean by varied? The
The insides of them should look different.
Yeah, like when you're always, I mean, like if I dropped you in front of the mouth of one of these things and you were going into them, right, it's always down that ramp. It's
For the
always the
most
thing
part.
right
And
you're
there's
right,
also
yeah.
like they're in cities, but you never see the cities or the people. Like the first big,
The few times we do, it's like, oh man, this is cool. Like
Yeah.
world building of like, here's a destroyed town, right? You're
Yeah,
oh,
but like the first big city you go to says population like 51,000,
Yeah.
and the boss fight later makes a big deal about the fact like there's so many people living here. Don't let the BT get involved with any of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, but I
I
don't.
don't see anybody.
Yeah,
Don't they
there's
all-
no one there.
they're all
Do they all
preppers,
live
right?
underground?
Yeah,
by the way?
they're all in their
Because-
bunkers, right?
Yeah, they all live like underground.
And it's
so
just
you
like
never
show
see
me
them.
someone outside of a
think.
hologram, and they do occasionally. Like that's what the
Yeah.
couple quest was basically about. It was like, okay, they're finally ready to do this, but it's the same hologram.
So I just
with, like
hit
the
that
lip
part.
flaps.
I just hit that part, and I was like, oh. This is where it's about to change, but that's kind of like discouraging, and that
Yeah,
is one of the few instances. Yeah, I mean, I can easily see where this game does cut back on the budget because obviously we're in this giant America world, but a lot of it is terrain tool and dropping rocks, and a lot of it could possibly be like computer
Really?
generated. But yeah, I think
You
so.
just felt like it was a paint. I have totally. Yeah.
I mean, no, it's gorgeous.
Disagree.
It's gorgeous, but a lot of it is very samey, and maybe they'll change. It'll be a color palette swap with different
See, I don't
rock
think you've
models
gotten
and stuff.
I mean, I know what you're saying. I think the detail of the geometry of this terrain is incredible.
Oh, yeah.
It definitely draws that like Red Dead Redemption 2 vibe, but even more so, I can't believe at how much like, yeah, there's all these little moon rocks everywhere, and like it feels different everywhere. I don't feel like I ever went down the same path.
But also, like, I guess I'm talking more from the fact that this is supposed to be all of America.
I get
Yeah.
that, yeah,
You know?
and you do start to experience different, like you said.
There's
you,
like
there's
three main
snow.
sections, right?
Yeah.
that
And you're
coming
right, it's
to, yeah.
compressed. You'll
Yeah.
literally
Middle
go
is very
from like,
big.
whatever, moonscape, rainy to like it's desert, red Mars very quickly.
Yeah.
But each of those areas feel very rich to me. And I actually think a ton of detail was put into the terrain, if not above everything.
It's a weird thing in the game, right? That I understand totally the distribution centers being like cut and paste, right? That it is the same thing.
Those, yeah.
But it's the weird objective of walking there being the gameplay that I don't know if that gets around it. At least for me, where it was like I never cared about the destination. It was about the journey, and it was about how to climb, and it was about if somebody actually put a climbing rope over there, if I was going to put down a ladder, or where I was going to go, or
But I
how I
mean,
was going to come to the side.
At the end of the day, the question is, do you think they wanted that to look different and they were budget limited because or do you think they wanted it to all look the same? And if they did all want it to look the same, like I can kind of respect that. I don't agree with it because I feel like there should be some visual reward for me to make it that way.
Yeah.
But
It's hard to say, right? And I don't want to go out on a budgetary limb. I would think in terms of the vision behind it. It is the idea is that, right, it was Amelie and all the Bridges people going out there building these distribution centers.
Right.
It's kind of like...
It's a game about connecting humanity that has very little humanity in those parts.
That's correct. Yeah, no, that I agree with 100%. That's why, like, with the couple, it was a really big deal when the door opened.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Another human. All right, cool.
The fact that they couldn't make a model for her to walk alongside you was weird.
Well, and it's because of the temporal downpour, don't forget. You know what I mean? We got all the rain going on. That's why
It's like, let's put her in a fucking body bag.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I will agree on the production side of like the main scenes with like Higgs and Mads and like that's where all the money went.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about these like bridges locations and they all look the same because there are some that are different, right? You get up in the mountains, a little bit different, and you see some signs that they didn't. It's not literally cut.
There are about like I would say like 4 or 5 exceptions.
But when you look at it, in other words, I would bet for the most part they wanted it to be this way. However, I would agree that let's say there's a Death Stranding 2 or whatever, like something in this vein. I would have liked to see the cities more developed, like when you open them up, like things start to happen, or maybe you can go underground or whatever it is. That feels missing, but I also think there could be the argument to be made of this desolate, like loneliness, and you don't get to connect with these people directly.
And I do think that's part of it, and I think that's what's interesting, and I understand why it's off-putting to some, interesting to others, where I think that Kojima is with this, right? Doing this thing where he wants you to feel alone. He wants you to feel at arm's length from humanity the entire time. And sure, that comes down to, like you're saying, a flappy head, like hologram talking to you, which is weird. But then as the story progresses and things start to change and you do start to interact with more people, I think it matters more.
But like the game has a certain amount of repetition that I think starts to grate on you over time. Like, oh, it's always going to be the same, him putting the box in here.
Yeah.
It's always going to be the same, him taking the thing out.
Yeah.
Him connecting the BB. All that stuff is always the same animation.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, skip this.
That stuff's a problem.
And then I'm like, is this going to be the one time it's different? Is this going to be the time that Mads Mikkelsen is opening the cork on the wine? And it's like, oh, actually, this is a different scene.
Yeah.
And am I skipping the wrong one? And like, starts to get so tedious. It takes four pressing options, hitting right, hitting X, like scenarios to get out of taking a shower. Like you hit the triangle button.
It's a huge problem.
Yeah, skip 4 times for that one thing.
This is a good segue because I was wanting to be like, what's wrong with the game? And this hits right on it for me.
Right, there's just so many animations that are just constantly repeated.
Scene after scene, yeah.
That is kind of my thing. Like overall with the game, it's like, is this bad because it's bad, or is this bad because they want to prove a point? And like, by the time
it's an oversight in my opinion.
By the time I finished the game, like that's what I was thinking overall for everything. Is this bad, or is this bad because there's a deeper answer to it? And ultimately, I shot up last night when I was asleep, and I was like, I don't know how I feel about this game. And that's one of the things is some of these things are bad, and some of them are just like idea concept bad. You know?
Yeah, I have a good way to ask this question. So, going into your private room for the first time, getting rest, it's really cool because it's a very real location that it actually kind of builds out a little bit, right? You put stuff on the walls.
Yeah, your gun starts showing up on the thing.
Yeah, it's kind of cool too. It's your little museum, and you can take a shower, and you can go to the mirror and take photos. And
you love that
like,
mirror, don't you, Fran?
Yeah, I love
Showered instantly.
Yeah, you can see Norman's butt as much as you want.
And an ad for AMC's The Ride.
If he's going to poop, you're going to see
yeah, you can take a
AMC's
crap.
The Ride,
But anyway, that's all there. But would you guys have been up for... And why isn't it there is my question of, okay, I've done that sometimes. Now, if I just want to rest in my room, which you have to go down the elevator, now you skip that if you want, and then you got to lay down, and then now you got to get up, and then now I got to walk over to the shower, and wait, I wanted to look.
Blood gets deposited.
Yeah, so basically, this is what Imran's talking about. Would you have been up for, I just want to rest and stay up top?
Yeah, just let me
an
do this
option
as a
to
menu.
be like, rest, and bloop, or does the realism, it's so like, tries to make you do these things that are more real and spend time on, but they're so repetitious. Would you have been up for like a recycle and immediate? For as an example, every time you recycle items, it's like
thank you for
conveyor
coming.
belt.
Yeah,
But
hey, thank you for donating to the Bridget
cutscenes
Foundation.
you have to skip every time you recycle an item. That slows down your gameplay progression so bad.
Well, I
Honestly,
think it would have been fine if this was a 15-hour game.
Yes.
yes.
Like this game is too fucking long.
So my quick answer is this stuff is an oversight. It needs to be fixed, and I hope they think about it at a patch.
Not
we haven't
a
seen
chance in
we haven't seen
hell.
this team
This
do
is
that.
not an oversight. This is a design decision.
To recycle an item every time that's the same thing.
Dude, I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not here. I'm
it's
not here
real.
defending it, saying it's the right thing to do. I'm telling you, they knew that they wanted it to be.
Greg
like
is
this.
right. This
but
is
they
what
let you
wanted.
skip it. Why does it take 2 skips? Recycling as an example. You can
Because,
skip the first half of the seed, and then you can skip the second
Because
seed.
someone at Sony is like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Oh, they made them skip it.
That's my guess.
And that was the best they could
You
do.
have to add a skip button. We can't have this in the game.
Okay. But are you guys okay with this or not? You're not okay with
No,
this,
obviously,
sound
like this. It's a larger conversation about the tedium of the game for me.
I don't honestly. I don't really have a problem with it. Like I just skip past it.
I played 37 hours, like I said, right? And it wasn't until last night where I was like, oh, I can skip the shower.
Right?
Because I was like,
never
I
got
don't,
it.
and I'm not, and don't get me wrong. This is what's so fascinating about this game and hearing you guys talk about it. Where I'm from is like, and maybe it's because I'm such a Kojima fan or whatever, but literally it was like, here's my ticket, I'm along for the ride. And so for me, yeah, like, would it have been cool to skip stuff? Of course. I mean, like, do you want to just rest? Are you
Super
ready to go?
fast.
Yada, yada.
Rest,
Boom.
head
Of course, sure, whatever. I think it would have changed what the game was because there is. And again, I understand being put off by it and everything else. I think there's ceremony too. Going down there covered in shit. There's BT handprints all over you. Your bags are all fucked up. You go down there, you collapse in your bed, you get up, you take the shower, you see him get psyched up or whatever, as best he can to go back out there and fucking wander around in the goddamn rain.
The only thing that I have ever skipped past is when the fragile jump. When she apparates and is like, where do you want to go? I'll just like, yeah, you can fast travel in this game, which was when that was sort of first presented. I was like, oh, thank fuck, because on the eastern side, the initial sort of starting point of this game, the east side of America, I never wanted to do any of the side missions because I was like, if I'm gonna be walking everywhere, fuck this, right? But I finally fast traveled back to the eastern part, and you don't have the ability to like use a vehicle. Like I didn't find the ability to fabricate vehicles because I was like, oh, I'll go back to now that I have all this cool shit that I have. Yeah. Let me go back there and use all this cool shit that I have.
Only certain places can do it.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Because Fragile explicitly says like, well, wherever you're going, you can't bring any of the shit with you.
Yeah, nothing on your backpack.
It's like Terminator. Where it's like, if you're going to go through, it's going to be
like
you.
Terminator.
The rules on it are very weirdly inconsistent of like what they bring with them and what they don't.
I mean, if you're paying attention, like there's blood and stuff, and like what these things mean to them.
I mean, like there are times where like you come out of it like, oh yeah, we brought all your guns back. Like, oh,
Thanks.
okay.
I don't mind the tedium of the small cutscene because you know what? I'll pull out my phone. I'll look at Twitter.
All right.
Like it's just like my me time.
That's how you end up shaking a baby.
All right. Well, I have more beef to chew on that one.
But before
okay.
you chew on that beef, Fran, let me tell you that this episode of the Kind of Funny Gamescast is brought to you by Mint Mobile. If you're still using one of the big wireless providers in 2019, have you asked yourself what you're paying for? Between expensive retail stores, inflated prices, and hidden fees, you're being taken advantage of because they know you'll pay. Enter Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile provides the same premium network coverage you're used to, just like Death Stranding. You know what I mean? You guys are out there connecting the Mint Mobile signals, right?
The Mint Mobile Chiron network.
Mint Mobile saves on retail locations and overhead and then passes the savings directly to you. They make it super easy. I did it for my mom. And man, trust me, if she can use a phone, literally anybody can. Figuring out how to get all this stuff going, it was super, super, super simple. Mint Mobile makes it easy to cut your wireless bill at just $15 a month, which is fantastic. Every plan comes with unlimited nationwide talk and text. And with Mint Mobile, stop paying for unlimited data you'll never use. You can choose between different plans with 3, 8, or 12 gigabytes of 4G LTE data. You can also use the phone that you already have. It's just a little SIM card. They send it to you. Again, couldn't make it easier. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get your plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/kinda. That's mintmobile.com/kinda. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/kinda. Also, shout out to Felix Gray. You may not realize it, but the average American blasts their eyes with bright screens for 11 hours every day. Isn't that crazy, Greg?
That's crazy, Tim.
Last time I was doing this ad read, I was talking about all the different screens, like use your laptop screen, your computer screen, your cell phone screen, your TV screen, whatever screen. Kevin screams from the background, ice cream. No, Kevin.
Damn it, Kevin.
No. The majority of Americans live with tired, dry eyes, blurry vision, or headaches caused by screens. And if this sounds familiar, Felix Gray glasses might be for you. Felix Gray glasses filter out 90% of high-energy blue light and eliminate 99% glare coming from your daily barrage of screens. Unlike other blue light filtering glasses, Felix Gray use proprietary blue light technology embedded into the lens as opposed to a cheap coating that can easily chip or scratch over time. They have a bunch of different styles you can get. I was looking at the site. I really, really like. There's like a slate gray. Oh God, Kevin. Oh God, really great slate gray one. I hate sometimes. I just look over at Kevin Coello's face, and he just gives me the shark look, and he knows it's gonna get me. Anyways, these glasses would look good on that face too, Kev. Let me tell you that. Felix Gray frames are handcrafted from the same high-quality materials used in high-end designer frames like organic Italian acetate and German-engineered steel. Wow. Don't go another day looking at screens without the help of some Felix Grays. Go to felixgrayglasses.com/kinda for free shipping and 30 days of risk-free returns or exchanges. That's felixgrayglasses.com/kinda. Felix Gray. Gray is Gray. Glasses.com/kinda. Back to it.
Back to it.
Back to it. Fran, what beef you want to chew on, boy?
Glad I'm back from the bathroom. Got to get Andy back in here as well. So
Andy sucks.
it was more questions about tedium stuff. So I had a major issue with the way you take missions from the menus, the way you go through your menus to decide what you're going to fabricate, what you want to recycle. And the main issue was it'd be like, hey, you want to take a mission? Okay, cool. And then the next screen you get is, what do you want to fabricate? And I'm like, well, let me look at my map. Can't look at the map.
Let me look at my inventory.
Let me look at my inventory. I can't look at my inventory. Okay, wait. I'll just accept it. I'm not going to fabricate anything.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to go look. Then I'm like, wait, I want to look at my map. I can't look at my map. I got to back out of the whole terminal. But anyway, I found this like
This is a good example. Yeah, that's
every time, back and forth and back and forth. It would take me like 5 different things when all of it should have been in one place.
Yep, 100%.
So okay, this was an issue for you guys.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't. That's not a hey. We're trying to make you think about why you're showering. What the hell you've been through.
It's fine, but it is a real problem.
Every single
Cumbersome.
time I was in the cargo menu, every single time through the entire 48 hours I played that game, I would hit circle, and then it would say like, "Do you want to cancel everything?" I'm like, "No." Then I have to go back up to confirm.
Yeah.
Every
I felt
time.
stupid. I'm like, am I missing something? Every time.
No,
also,
it's cumbersome. Yeah,
little things too, like why isn't there a shortcut to your cargo? So you press options, then you D-pad left, then you click cargo, and then what happens is you want to optimize your cargo, so you hit triangle. So literally like 4 actions when what you should have been able to somehow do, I don't know, but like bloop, right into your cargo and optimize.
The funniest thing to me is that the touchpad button is only the like button.
Yeah.
What else?
Also yell.
Should have optimized.
Well,
I'm Sam.
Which is not great because, like,
Hey!
if you're trying to like a ladder that you're on and then step out of the window and suddenly you alert every mule in the area to your,
I'm Sam.
Yeah.
He says that.
Yeah,
That's great.
And a good example where this becomes a problem is you might have to drop all your gear. It might get knocked off you. And when you pile it up real fast, want to get out of there, if it's optimized so bad, you actually can't.
You'll start losing.
You have to stop and get in and optimize. But like it doesn't even occur to you sometimes because you're just trying to run.
Yeah.
But in other words, you really needed like a quick optimize as one of the many things to just optimize your cargo.
Is anyone there? I'm right here.
I'm Sam too.
Nanobiologist writes in and says, were there any mechanics that you didn't expect to be good but ended up working really well? And what about vice versa? Were there any things that you just felt didn't stick the landing and hindered your gaming experience?
I liked the balancing stuff, which I don't think on paper sounds boring, and I wouldn't have liked it. And I know for Imran is boring, but for me, like that's what I dug the most about it. I think earlier we were talking, right, that you think it gets better when it gets more Metal Gear-y.
Yeah.
Where I liked it better when it was more, I'm out there delivering things going back and forth. It is more about me versus the elements, me figuring out how to get there. What a big deal of getting my first trike. Like, again, the fact that it is just walking, it is literally a walking simulator, right, or delivery simulator across these giant areas. I really dug in terms of those moments and having it be walking up the like these steep mountain faces and have it be like, okay, cool, I've got it, and then it would like pan out a bit and start playing one of the soundtrack tracks from like, this is cool.
By the way, the music from like every combat scenario with like mules and whatever, that like the 80s synth is fantastic.
Yeah,
I love
really
what they're
badass.
going for that.
Yeah.
I when it was first introduced, the hiding in the grass was like, oh, cool, this is where it gets Metal Gear. And then, like, I've never used it ever again. I just feel like it was useless.
If you stack too high, they see it.
Yeah, it
and
was
they're always
reward,
stacked
baby.
too high.
Yeah.
But you could play around that, right? You could put your cargo on like a little tray thing.
Well, no, I'm talking early game, before you even had the little tray.
No,
by the way, I love the
it-
tray. Like that's one thing that it's an item that it's a little floating.
It's a hoverboard.
It's a hover thing that you put cargo on top of. And
gotta fuel it,
if you
of course.
have, and you can chain them together, and you can chain multiple together. But if you have the other one, that's where you could like slide down a mountain with it, and it follows you.
Like,
I
that's my
started using that a
dream.
lot more.
Coming back now and being able just to go do whatever I
Yes.
want, I'm gonna chain a whole bunch of those.
So-
I'm gonna be like fucking Santa Claus out there running around delivering
The
shit.
Norman Reedus Express.
So yeah, it's funny. We got off some of the things that are annoying, but I think it's worth stopping on. Have you guys tried to skateboard on it yet?
Yes.
And what happened?
I didn't know.
I went downhill, hit a rock, fell.
Yeah, same.
Did
me.
you have a bunch of cargo?
No, I was unconscious.
You were
at the time.
smart. I don't know why I was an idiot. I like throw it on the ground. I'm playing this game on hard. I also always have togged to the bricks. Everything's like on my back. And anyway, so I hop on this thing, and of course, I was like, I knew I would probably crash, and man, I crashed so hard, I had to like cancel and go back in my saves.
Everything
I'm like,
was
nope.
destroyed or whatever.
It just was, yeah,
Oh,
a
man.
total. But that's where the game's really cool, is that it has, again, these things that you can do that I haven't even touched it since then. You can find a clear spot on a mountain. I want to try it up in the snow, and just, it's actually going to be faster, not use stamina, but it's a risk versus reward, right? If you
Totally.
crash, you're screwed.
See,
so.
back to you losing all the stuff, like that's something I loved about it, where again, I don't know if it was last night or the night before, but like deep into the game, I've played a ton of this. I know what I'm doing, and I had story packages, but a bunch of them. And it was, all right, I got to forge this river, like Oregon Trail.
Fucking hate the river
God, I
so
love
much.
it. God, everything you hate, I love about this
So
game.
like there was so when you go into a river too far, you
Oh,
just
hold
like
on. Anyways, sorry.
Greg
So
can
yeah,
never finish
I,
anything 'cause
I
Imran's
spammed
like,
it across, right, and it goes blue, yellow, red, or whatever.
Yeah.
But
The depth.
it wasn't red; it was just yellow, and I'm like, I got it. But I went in there and hadn't been paying attention to my
Did this.
stamina, which is already down, and totally got out there, went down because I ran out of stamina, and it's just me floating on the river like. Fuck, and it's all the story packages surrounded me, and I got up, and then I'm like running along the bank
You lost
trying to
it.
get the. Oh yeah,
it starts floating down the river. You're like, no,
Yeah.
no, I need it. Sometimes it's an important package too.
Yeah.
So one time
so
that happened
funny.
to me, and like you're supposed to like be able to paddle left or right to the whatever
Yeah, yeah.
ground
To
there is.
stop yourself. Yeah.
Somebody put a ladder between the two areas.
You got caught on
I
it.
got caught in the ladder, and there's just nothing you can do.
Oh, you couldn't get off?
Yeah, I couldn't pause it
Oh.
because it doesn't do the actual menu, so I can just reload a new save.
Yeah.
I never
had
ran
to
into that.
physically go into the menu, like PS4 menu,
Quit.
and like close it.
Hardcore.
And I'm like, did no one test that part? Like,
Interesting.
that seems like a thing that would come up at some point.
Did you have cargo on your back?
I don't remember.
Yeah, because you could drop your cargo. Maybe if your cargo got caught, that might have been one way around it.
There's a
I'm not justified.
Yeah.
I haven't run into anything like that. That's game
But I mean,
breaking.
like, even just in general, like if you lose all your cargo in the river,
Yeah.
getting it back is damn near impossible. Because you have to forward it into the river to get it, and you're just gonna fall.
Well,
You
out.
it
can,
hits
you can
shores.
go and eventually hit shores. It'll
Yeah.
hit rocks in the middle and stuff.
it's
like-
crazy real in that way. That's what I like about it. It's
Yeah, as
like-
long, that was my problem. Is the one where I got washed away there at the end, late game. I was running and there was like a waterfall. It was going down. I was like, "Fuck!" So it was. But later on, it was that it was like on a long stream.
Yeah.
Or
What-
earlier on, where I just wandered along the stream and then would wait for the packages to get.
See,
caught
and
up.
that's the difference between the types of players is that you're supposed to hate it, Imran. I did. I was like, son of a. I want every bone in my body. I want to just redo the save. Like, but I'm like, no. Like,
This
you
is my
deserve
journey.
this.
This is my
You
journey.
got to earn it. Like,
risk reward. I'm right there with you.
This is
Fran.
masochist side of it.
Well, every aspect
Yeah.
of this game is the climbing a rainy mountain in Breath of the Wild. Of like,
Yeah.
for me, I'm like, okay, that's actually
it's a
pretty
blood
cool. It's
moon.
a fun challenge, like to do this. This is everything in Death Stranding. Is if you like that fun challenge like that,
It's oppressive.
and you want it for an entire game,
Yeah.
this is that. At some point, it just fucking broke me.
A 60-hour game.
I will tell you the exact moment it broke me because there was a point early on in the game where you're going to Port Knot City.
Yep.
And
You could say whatever words, and I'll just say okay, because I don't know. All these names sound the same to me.
All the knots.
Lake Knot, Port Knot.
this
I
is
don't know.
like this is within the first 10 hours.
the
and
knots on the rope.
yes.
Yeah, man, the strand.
Middle
You
knot.
You have to climb.
Whales can
yeah.
be stranded.
You have to climb a mountain, and like as I was going out there, it's like, okay, BT stuff. This is a scripted BT sequence where you have to go through here. I'm like, fuck it. There's a mountain around the side. I'm just gonna use that one.
Yeah.
There are mountains they just straight up won't let you go up. Like
They're all red.
yeah, like they're
Really?
all
I haven't run
red.
into that
You
yet
can
either.
try and put a ladder there. It's just not gonna let you put
Oh,
up a ladder.
okay.
So I tried to do that. I Skyrim'd my way up further than I should, and then at some point, it was just invisible wall slammed me down.
Oh, wow,
And I was like, that's where the game broke for me because I'm like, the world is now a lot smaller because there's just areas for the story they want me to go through, and I just
You must
can't
have
avoid
really
it.
been on the edge. Like I assume those exist, and I've wanted to go explore that edge, but I'm like, I'm not going over there. Like
It's too
that's-
far. I'm too scared.
Yeah, it's just gonna take. Well, it's gonna take forever, but that's interesting. I
'Cause assume-
figured they were there.
I assume from a Breath of the Wild kind of way that you can just do whatever, but that's not this kind of game.
No, this you have to connect the network. Like that's the point. You can't stray too far from the network. So I knew these walls are out there, but in other words, I agree that kind of like brings things down a little bit, but like you don't run into that very often unless you're trying to break the game, is what I would say.
I mean, like,
Does that make sense?
He was
like I said,
afraid of the BTs. He already said it.
I find the BT stuff tedious, and to go back to Tim's original question from Nanobiologist of what do you think worked well and what didn't work as well, the answer to both is BTs. Because, like, the first 5 times I did that, I was like, this is amazing and intense, and oh my god, the boss battle was so cool. It's like, then you got that trophy popped, like, you killed a BT, holy shit, no one's ever done that.
Yeah.
Then, like, the next 30 times, I'm like, okay.
Kill 500 BTs.
Yeah. I was like, I guess there's 3 in this fight, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, and I just, at some point,
How often did you like get dragged down by the big monster or whatever?
at some point, if I couldn't avoid it, if I was
He
on
said
a
he
bike,
did it
I
on
tried
purpose.
to do it, yeah. But if I'm walking it, I just, like, I let it happen. Because it's easier to kill him than it is to...
I guess I'm so worried about my cargo. Like,
Yeah, that was my thing. Is I snuck past him the whole way.
Yeah.
And I didn't. I mean, I got captured obviously once or twice or whatever. But like, yeah, for me, I liked the beginning puzzle aspect of it. But then these mini, how am I going to get around this thing? So waving out, there's the one. Eventually, you have a way to fight him. I won't talk about how, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Without guns or something, you have a better way, like a stealth kill. And so like, making my way through that and then getting it and going and then finding the next one and then moving towards it and getting in there, holding my breath, plotting where am I going to where am I going to breathe? When's my stamina going to get filled?
Could you imagine if in Metal Gear Solid, every time you entered a room with guards, there was an 8-second animation telling you this room had guards?
Yeah, I know too. I know
hate
too.
that. I
I
hate
hear
that.
it, BB.
I've run into some really cool BT encounters where I am low on my ammo or whatever. I don't want to get too spoilery or whatever, but the game has continued to introduce kind of cooler ways to take them on that I feel is really cool and rewarding, where I think like, oh, this is what I'll be using for the rest of the game. And then a new thing is introduced, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. Which one would I prefer? Which method do I, prefer taking them down or whatever? But I ran into a cool moment last night where I'm always usually pretty geared up with the weapons.
Yeah.
And I ran into a moment where I was just low on ammo for whatever reason because I was taking down some mules, and then I was like, how am I? I'm gonna have to like old school this the way I did early on when the
Throw a
game first.
briefcase,
And I'm gonna have to just like sneak through and hopefully. And holy shit, I gotta hold my breath. And that guy was freed from the constraints. Like, I think it's really cool. It hasn't gotten stale for me yet, which is what I'm really happy about. It's always intense.
Yeah, I think the reality is like that's where it is. Very Metal Gear in a lot of ways. Like there's a pretty big skill ceiling in how you can play those things, and I'm not saying you're not good at it. I still have a ton of problems with it because I get very impatient very fast. But the point is, there's a lot of different ways to do things, and that again, where I'm like 45 hours in, and I'm like, oh, for sure, when I throw this thing, they actually get scared off. So I actually can clear the path later. Or, I use this thing, and then I'm learning these, like you said, new ways, and I'm starting to move much faster and feel powerful. Like I'll get noticed, for example, right? And before I'm like... run away, and like that was the easiest thing, just run away, use your stamina. But then I realized I could do something else, and I'm like, let's go.
I wish-
and I'm like, you move back from me.
Yeah,
And-
exactly.
And you start to learn these things. But
Bitch,
I honestly wish that like they had committed to the fact that BTs are unbeatable. They're just the thing that you need to...
Sure.
You cannot... You have
Dodge,
to just like
avoid,
figure your way around.
So something I'm getting from this is that at some point it gets a bit more Metal Gear. Does this game flirt with being Metal Gear too much without committing to it? Or does it feel unique enough and we're only making comparisons because it's Kojima?
I haven't played enough. It feels like it's there if you want it, like the mule camps.
Yeah.
So you can do that a lot. And I honestly have never cleared an entire mule camp. I'm like, I'm not doing this right now.
I punch them all.
because I've had so many other packages to
Pull
deliver.
on.
Yeah.
I tried to take one down, the very
You can
first one.
run over them in a car and it just knocks them
Yeah.
unconscious. It's
But,
hilarious.
or the mules have this electric stick that I started. I was like, I'll run over every of these mule guys with this big ass truck, and this dumb boom, I'm hitting
Good-
four
good
of them,
luck.
and then suddenly I see a spear go,
Till they
shing,
take-
and the car electrocutes,
truck
and I have to
down.
jump out of the car because it's being like
Yeah.
electrocuted.
To be clear, Andy, what I mean is I bolo them and then I run over them with the
Oh.
car.
So you're like a villain in like the old western. You like put the
all
damsel in distress on the tracks.
it just knocks them out. So like, what's the problem?
yeah.
So we should try to answer questions, but then I have a question about difficulty because since I played on hard, but Greg, you looked like you were gonna say something about the Metal Gear thing. Like, is it Metal Gear? Does it flirt with it? Is it just there if you
It
want
doesn't. I don't know if it. Even like the going down into the camps and taking on the mules.
Even BT sneaking feels.
Can we talk about
stealthy,
the
at
consequences of killing someone?
Kinda. Oh, I didn't kill anybody because I wouldn't do that. That's not how
Yeah,
it's
no, but
saying it would be.
they tell you what it is. So I never actually did it.
Yeah, no, me neither. Right? Yeah.
But it's a very cool thing. Like, I'm sure it's out there on the internet, but
Yeah,
it's a very cool thing. It's like, oh, that's actually great that they concepted the game out where if you kill someone, it fucking sucks for you.
Yeah.
The BTs want corpses, so you don't want to run into that situation.
Yeah, and like it's a world where a corpse will explode.
The way I played it, I
a
wouldn't
good way
say
to
it
put it.
flirts with being Metal Gear. It has pangs of Metal Gear. Like, when I was talking to another reviewer about it, he was very much, I was like, to me, I think the reason I love it, and I'm in this thing, is that it's No Man's Sky meets Metal Gear, right? Where it's like, I'm wandering around this world, exploring it, finding it, completing my missions, and then and he's like, I don't see the Metal Gear. And I'm like, the loadout screen is, even as cumbersome
The
as it is so Metal Gear Solid 5, where it was like, what's your loadout? Do you want Diamond Dog? Do you want this? Do you want, like, boom, let's go on the mission.
Even some of the sounds are
It
the
was
same.
gearing you up. Yeah, exactly. Well, it's codec too, right? It was gearing you up to go on your mission. And I feel here, you are gearing up to go on your missions, but you're not gearing up to go infiltrate the base, take out all these guys, and save the hostage, right? I'm going there to deliver my package or get through the BTs or get into the mule camp and get out without the thing. But even at the end, when I think it goes too far into being Metal Gear, where at the end with some of the boss battles, when you're running around with machine guns or rocket launchers or whatever, that feels a lot like Metal Gear, which feels not like what Death Stranding is and what I was enjoying about it. Not to say that I hated this by any means, but
it feels like uncommitted to what he wanted Death Stranding to be, and like maybe that's what he wanted in the first place. Is he wanted to make that change, but at some point it does straight up feel like I want to make these big action set pieces because that will what's.
But I think you could have had him if it was just more about hiding, right? Like or running. Because again, no spoilers. I don't think that happens in the first 3 chapters or anything.
No, right after the third chapter.
Okay,
But
you can talk about anything you want.
The way you're running
no
from, there's certain
story.
boss battles that are just running around in a really cool way, and the environment's changing as you go, and it's like, I would have rather that been the whole way.
Yeah.
In terms of how I'm going to fight these giant things, rather than it me being.
Well, I mean, they
you know
are
what I mean?
the God. What were they called? The villains from Metal Gear Solid 5.
The
skull
You know,
things.
the skulls. Yeah. So basically, the boss fights in this game are the skull fights from MGS5.
They're scary.
So-
I will say that
Overall, I feel like it's unique. If it doesn't flirt with being Metal Gear, it has pangs of being Metal Gear.
I think it would have been a lot more had there been missions where they were like, you have to go to this mule camp and you cannot be seen. That's the stipulation here. You cannot be seen, because when I go to a mule camp, I just take everybody out. There's no incentive for me to be stealthy about any of it, because I am now at the point where I have the gear to take these people out in a pretty easy way. Like I'm not finding any
get that really
difficulty
early.
at all.
I felt like the
super early.
The first time you infiltrate is the only time where I was like, oh man, I'm not gonna do it. And then
Yeah.
once you get the bola gun, it's like, oh.
Yeah, shoot everybody. There's a mechanic I wanted to bring up that I'm not sure if it's doing any work behind the scenes or if it's all just faked. But like whenever you go, there's a kind of a story part that your blood is what fucks up the BTs and you're this rare human being that has special blood that really really just grinds these BTs gears. You know what I mean?
No, man, they hate it.
They hate this dang blood.
It's like in Ghostbusters with the piano.
Exactly. Never seen the movie.
Dr.
But there's a part of it where one of the NPCs that you meet, who's at one of these little bases, is like, he's like, Sam, the porters that we're hiring to go bring stuff back and keep building stuff out, they're using your blood to take down these BT. We finally had a porter kill a BT. It's never been done before. Like, this is crazy. But it's in such short supply. So make sure that you're constantly going to these bases to rest, to donate your blood, because if you stop doing that, we'll run out of blood.
Yeah, you're like
but
supplying.
There's a part of me that's like, is that even happening, or is that just something that they're telling you? Like,
story
is
thing.
Just
that an actual thing?
It's not a mechanic,
Is there
yeah.
a system that's like
Yeah.
actually tracking how much blood you're resting?
You don't
blood
have-
currency
you-
now.
If anything,
Yeah.
you're making it for yourself. That's it.
Because if I never rested, ever? Like, would they be like, bro, we're out of blood?
Help!
Yeah.
Well, there's no way not to rest. Eventually, it forces you to rest.
Does it? I was
Yeah, your
wondering about that.
stamina bar gets smaller and smaller and
Oh
smaller.
no, but you could take a nap. You can eat stuff. But I mean,
Once-
like, if I never went to a
no.
base and went downstairs into my little
You have to eventually,
apartment,
I'm pretty sure. Meaning, you know how it gets crosshatched on the stamina bar? It turns like a white crosshatch.
Yeah,
It gets
yeah.
pushed farther in front until you have almost nothing left to give until you finally rest. Pretty sure. I have never sat. You can sit down in the game and sleep, by the way.
Done that.
Again, how real it is. I don't know what happens if you do that
Mario
for
64.
5 hours, so I can't speak to.
Gotcha.
Maybe you don't.
It does
but,
measure the time you do it though, because
When
you nap for 2 minutes.
yeah, when you nap, it makes up everything aside from what's already been hashed out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't get that
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
crosshatch
You have to
piece
rest
out. You
for
can't
that.
get that stamina back. That's like you have to go.
You have
back
to
and
rest to go there, yeah.
and take a naked shower with. Never mind.
I want to combine two questions here. Lee Polero writes in, do you believe Death Stranding is truly the start of a franchise, or does it seem like a one-off that will not be revisited? And Krajuki says, will Death Stranding stand the test of time, or will it just be a blip in video game history as a hype game that could never live up to the expectations?
I think that it will not live up to expectations because it's not I think it's super special that Kojima came out here and made a game that is unlike anything I've ever played.
Yeah.
Surprised.
I think it's like really cool that he came out here and made a video game just all by himself. Just he's the only guy. No. That he had this vision to make a game that wasn't a rehash of Super Soldier or just any sort of espionage guy taking down a corporation with guns and gadgets. Like I think it's cool that he made a game that is not
Kind of the opposite.
It's
Yeah.
very, very much the opposite, and I think it's really cool. I don't think this will be just a blip in video game history. I think like this game will be talked about because it's going to be so polarizing.
I think that's the thing is, what are the expectations? I don't. People.
it's Kojima. I think people are 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
I
I think
also
they said 10
think-
out of 10 weird.
Yeah.
I feel like it was always 10 out of 10. This game's going to be
I
batshit
don't know, I
crazy.
thought
What
it-
the fuck's happening? I don't
do
understand.
you even
I
think
thought it
it's
was going to be
that,
story
honestly?
weird.
Yeah, weird. Yeah.
I think it's like maybe it's just I've played weirder games, but it's.
I think it,
all those anime
it's a-
dating simulators.
I mean, like a Yoko Taro game, for example.
But
like,
here's
is it
my thing
significantly
is-
different from Nier Automata.
but I think it's a batshit crazy AAA
Yes.
game. That's the thing. Like it's that's more rare. Sure, there's a bunch of weird visual novels on Vita we could bring up that are weird. ass
But I
games.
mean, like there, like I just mentioned before, Nier and Nier Automata are also weird games.
Sure.
Yeah, but I
But I think that the jargon of this is what's makes people think it's weirder than it actually is.
But I think
But I
Greg
mean, this
hit-
will like decimate what Nier Automata did, right? In
Yeah,
terms of
no, for
sales.
sure.
So I mean, that's I think the
But I was
point.
gonna
This
say-
is a weird mainstream game.
I also think there's that expectation you were getting at is this is a PlayStation AAA exclusive. It's a God of War. It's a Days Gone. They've set a standard of like a certain style and like God of War especially.
Yeah.
And I think and plus just Metal Gear being what it was, you have that type of expectation. That's why it's so weird.
I
Not
think
because of the entire.
It's going to
ecosystem.
stand the test of time as a weird game.
yeah, no, like the most impressive thing about this game for me is that holy shit, Kojima had this vision and he put this vision through. Despite all issues, because even he said like my team was not on board for the
I
longest time.
Can't imagine.
And
how
they
you
came on
pitch
board.
this.
Yeah.
How do you pitch this game?
And it like
so it's kind of like FedEx in the future, but it's like really messed up. And it's like this
falling.
moonscape, and so you just deliver packages, and then they get heavier.
He's
and
gonna
then,
he's
like,
gonna have a jar with a baby
you
in it, and the baby's gonna help him see BTs.
right, but he's got the
BTs
baby that
easily.
helps deliver
Will
the
there be a
packages.
there's room for it.
I
And,
think
like,
so. I think so, but I think only in the case that he leans more towards a mainstream play style. Like I think I could see something being. I could see more games in the Death Stranding world in this sort of like vision that he's had or whatever. But I don't see it being the same sort of game mechanics. I would expect Sony to be like, this sold really well because you are you,
Yeah.
right? And this is a Sony
What's
first
your next
party
idea?
now.
What do you want to do
But what if we made it more like the other games that everybody really loved? What if it was more of a spy espionage sort of game? You know?
My hope is that it isn't. My hope is that this is it and it stands
a
alone.
one-off. Yeah.
Because I think it. Granted, there's plenty of room for a sequel. Every game does. Every universe you build has. But I think it ends with such a button on it that it's like I'm okay leaving these characters in this world and seeing where we are from there.
I mean, he's tried to end Metal Gear Solid several times,
Yeah, I
and
know.
getting fired is what did it.
yeah.
Like,
I would agree with that if he can do something really interesting again that has like these loops, and then of course I'm out for something new. However, to me, and I know I'm not done yet, that's where I'm a little hesitant to say, it feels like some of it is underdeveloped, and I would love to see that fix all the menus, and I joked about getting it patched. Like I'm serious, like fix things in the game, but
You're
also
never gonna get the ability
imagine,
to just skip
Yeah.
resting.
But
You want the
imagine-
Western version.
Can I rest, skip shower, and everything else? Yeah,
but imagine a
Jimmy,
world,
like you want a button just to end the game?
If you want to do it, dude, just watch the YouTube
Right.
videos like I'm going to do.
Imagine
It's
a
a story.
world twice the size, weather that's more complex, structures that are way more on PS5. So to me, I would love to see a sequel without even having finished it, and putting the story aside.
I'd fucking love the Death Stranding movie, to be honest, or the Death Stranding TV show, or whatever.
Nah.
Because like what this is like, I understand where people are gonna love this, and I expect honestly that I'm on the lower end of like the opinion on
Oh,
it.
I can't wait.
I think that overall people are going to be very, because the game ends so strongly.
Yeah.
That I think
That's
a lot of
good
people
to
are going
hear.
to like feel like wholly see this as okay, I actually really like this experience.
But does
So-
it end, or is there like 7 epilogues and stuff?
It took, I think you messaged me like 1:30 a.m. last night.
Hey, you up?
Yeah, you're like,
hey, I just did this. How much longer do you have? You're like, I think you have like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And it was more. I was like, all right.
It's like I got
Strap in.
Last question that I want to ask before we wrap this up. Ignacio Ross says, how's it hanging, guys? Prior to its release and going all the way back to its announcement, no one has been completely sure what Death Stranding is about. So far, it's all seemed like it's just random weird stuff, or Kojima finally going full Kojima. Do you think you know with full certainty what the story is? And how the story is the story more or less convoluted than a typical Metal Gear game?
I think this is so far what I've experienced. Again, I'm so very early on story wise. I think this is pretty cut and dry. This is not anywhere as near as convoluted as Metal Gear has ever been for me. I think it's because they're explaining everything along the way.
it gets complicated, but it gets complicated mostly because they use jargon that they don't explain for a while, and they use reference events that they don't show for a very long time. If you had a problem with the way Kojima over-explained everything in Metal Gear Solid 4, like Big Boss coming to the graveyard and just telling you the entire story,
Yeah.
this is that. Like, towards the end of the game, literally a character will walk around you and exposit a thing that they said, like, theoretically, the scene before this, they just didn't show it to you. So they just say it a scene later for, I want to say, 15 minutes of them talking.
Yeah.
Yes, that happens.
Yeah.
What was the question exactly?
Do you know with full certainty what the story is?
Yeah, I mean, I know the big points. I mean, there was things I was talking to Imran about in the other room where I was like, "What about this?" and "What about But that's what I like out of a game like this, right? Where I do want to leave and be like, "What was your interpretation of this? I thought, am I thinking right here?" Blah blah blah.
Yeah,
blah. It's again, it's always a little unfair to compare it to Metal Gear because there's how many entries in Metal Gear, right? Where this is like just Metal Gear Solid. I always thought was that was my first Metal Gear. I had no idea about the other games, and so coming into Metal Gear Solid, I was like, I get this, but that's kind of where you're at here. Of like, sure. All this Death Stranding business is happening. We got BTs wandering the earth, but like they explain it, and you can read the emails, and you can read the documents, and see the interviews and stuff, and get more on that. If
I
you
wish
want
this
to.
game had a fucking glossary, though.
Yep, 100%, 100%.
Because they reference things, and like obviously that's part of the mystery is to this world they know all these terms, and you as a player do not. But it's so confusing sometimes. Of like, well, you have dooms. It's like, okay, so what's dooms? So moving on.
The funniest thing was like because the exact same thing happened to me. I was like, let me Google. The game isn't out yet, Andy. What am I- this game isn't out yet. Should we do like what do we think this is gonna be on Metacritic?
Because it's
wanna
literally at the
predict it.
same
Save it for-
time this is out.
Yeah, that's a good point.
What do you mean?
All the reviews are dropping when this drops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay,
He's
you-
predicting.
yeah.
He's saying predict.
What
the
do we
Metacritic.
predict?
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, meaning we won't. You definitely don't know because the embargo's not out.
And whoever gets closest wins a pizza party.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
From
Wow,
Andrea
I like
Renee.
Yeah. from Andrew. I'm gonna guess this is a 72.
Are we doing
Whoa.
prices right? Closest without going over?
Let's not
Yes.
do.
That's not. Why do you hate that?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
You can't go over.
Who
No
cares?
go
We
over.
went
Have
over. It
some
was a
fun.
71. He picked 72. Give it to him. You know what I mean?
That's not how the game works.
I think it's.
It's whoever's closest.
So you said
Die like
71
that.
72.
or 72?
Did I
is what
say
you're saying.
71?
I don't know. I'm checking.
What did I say?
You said
You said
72.
72.
72. Because I think there's going to be a lot of 3 out of 10s and a lot of 10 out of 10.
I'm gonna say 89, which is what
Ooh.
Peace Walker hit.
Yeah, that was underrated. You're kidding me right there. I screwed it up.
Yeah,
I should've
we're
given it a
talking
10.
like next week. Is what we're talking.
Yeah, sure.
Or
Next
what?
Gamescast. We all sit
Yeah.
back down.
Yeah,
What's the
like a
Metacritic
week from
guy?
now. Not
I'm going
like
87.
a year from now.
You're going 87.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 82.
Damn, I should have gone.
I
with
think.
that.
should've.
I think
Can I
it's
go
gonna be-
82?
No.
Oh, fuck.
I think there's gonna be a lot of 10
See,
out
now
of
you're
10 for
cheating.
this game.
Yeah.
Even though it's not
Yeah.
my thing, I think a lot of
think
people
so
are
too.
really gonna love it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Andy, what'd you say?
72.
Fran.
Oh,
That's how you were.
82.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
I just picked a lot of 4 out of 10s. You know.
What I think is going to be fascinating about this, and this is awesome because this is how it should be, especially with art of like how does everybody interpret it.
Yeah.
I'm really interested to see. I think what's going to happen is critics are going to score it really high. There are going to be a lot of 10 out of 10s. There's going to be a lot of 9s. There's going to be obviously other things. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's going to be IGN, GameSpot, whoever the hell, gives it 9, 10, yay. And then podcasts are full of people being like, I hated this.
100%.
I didn't get it.
And that's why I'm as high as I am on this. I think
And
it's
I
going
think
to
that's
review
and that's
well.
great
Yeah.
because it is, I do think there's a big difference that we talk about all the time on this show, right? Of like, I'm reviewing the game. I'm weighing the merits and this, that, and the other, and blah, blah, blah. And like, what did they try to do? Versus I'm playing the game and I'm going to talk about it on a show. I didn't like it. So after 8 hours, I stopped playing. You know what I mean? Like, that's a different take than I'm at IGN and I want to play everything and see
Yeah.
everything and do everything.
I will say
Fran?
I'm super fucking glad this game exists. Or like, this game exists even if I didn't like it.
Dude, and see, that's what I'm talking about with like my comparisons to Red Dead last year. Is I was that way with Red Dead of like not my jam. So it's super awesome, beautiful that I'm taken aback by how much I love this game. You know what I mean? And this is not to take away from the flaws of it, right? Like I think there are problems with it. I think there's pacing issues. I think there's a whole bunch of different stuff. But like leading up to it, it was that weird thing like, what is this game? It's going to be a weird Kojima game. I hope I stick with it or I'll be able to get into it. You know what I mean? Because when you think about it, like, is it Metal Gear that I liked and being Snake, or was it, the story and blah, blah, blah. To get into this one and have this weird baby in a bottle and be like, that seems weird and that seems done, and get to the end and like fucking care about that damn baby in the bottle, right?
Yes.
And BB and the performances and the tidbits they give you and the breadcrumbs they give you, and then to have it pay off, which is I think sometimes what Metal Gear would miss, where you'd get to the end of Metal Gear and it wouldn't be necessarily, oh man, this all came together and worked. Because even with this one, getting to the
This
end,
little fuck.
no, this game. Getting to the end of Death Stranding last night, it was like there were totally the pieces that fell into place. I'm like, oh yeah, I predicted that like 20 hours ago.
Yeah.
Or even like I think when I turned it on and Jen sat down next to me, she's like, I bet this happens. And then,
But don't
then
you want to explain to you over 30 minutes?
But it was like true. But then it was the things I didn't see coming. The moments that they had done something like moments before, and I was like, that's a weird thing, but okay. And then it pays off in the other. I was like, all right, like. I just really, really fucking dig the game. And I think a lot of people are, but I think a lot of people are going to hate it.
Yeah.
Tim stole my guess, so I'm gonna go for 85.
All right, we're just gonna whoops.
So what
Why'd
are
you
the
steal it? Quit
final
stealing
guesses?
shit,
What are the
Tim.
final guesses?
The final guess is Andy, 72. Greg, 82. Fran, 85. Tim, 87. Imran, 89.
Closest block going over. All right.
Guy,
I think Andy has a pretty good chance though, because you have such a
Yeah,
wide gap
yeah.
that if like it falls anywhere in there, the rest of us chose pretty sequential
close,
numbers.
yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin, what about you?
put Kevin in on this.
108.
He's like,
I like that Imran, the guy who's like most
78.
negative,
Yeah.
gets the high score.
70?
78.
78 for Kevin.
I feel
should've
like I'm
guessed
the most
79.
negative. Because I straight up was like, I'm done.
You want to change
but
to
it's that thing
79?
where it's, yes, yeah. But it's like, I don't, it's not,
Doesn't matter what the Metacritic
yeah,
is,
whatever.
obviously.
It's not that you're like negative about it, it's just not your thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I think that I'm pretty down on it as
Okay.
a whole. Where it's like I appreciate
Because
that
you're a
it's-
huge Kojima fan. Like,
I-
you're a
yeah,
Metal Gear fan.
Totally. It's like I appreciate that it's art. I do completely understand that a AAA game being able to just be pure art is great. I just think that should mean more though than just that being the thing. Earlier, like we got off of it, so I didn't go back onto talking about the anime aspect of it. It's like, oh, it's super anime. That anime can be good or bad. You know what I mean? And it's like that's the problem. Is like there are so many good anime. This
Actually,
doesn't feel like a good
Astral
anime.
Let me
Jam.
amend that a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily super anime, it's super Snatcher and Police Knots. So it is basically like Kojima, what if I made a AAA 3D one of those?
Yeah. And I'm sure people are gonna like it, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I
again,
can already tell I don't. I'm excited to like get more spoiled on the story to kind of see where it goes, to see if I end up being wrong about my feelings of it all. But I love Metal Gear's convoluted story. Like I feel like that's where it kind of shines.
Like some
Well,
of the
this is
charm.
convoluted. There's still a lot to
no, but if
unpack
it's like,
here.
but at the end of the day, it's like people throw convoluted at Metal Gear as if it's a bad thing. I feel like the Metal Gear story, at least for most of the games, like makes sense and has characters and things that I care about. I just don't see that happening
For me, like the story's big problem was it would reference a thing and then not tell you what that thing is. So a character would be like, oh, I did that day. And then it's like, okay, well, what's the significance of that? And you just don't know for another couple of hours.
And on top of that, like even from what I've played, it's just it's silly to me, and it's super Kojima, and it's fun to like kind of laugh at. But the baby's it's BB,
Yeah.
And like what is Strand? Oh, well, Strand can mean this or this or this. It's like but then your name is Sam Porter Bridges. Well,
He
you work
fucking
for
loves
Bridges
homonyms.
Yeah.
Like the entire story is built on the idea
Yes.
of homonyms, of like Kojima being fascinated that words sound the same.
100%. Or just using the word like
It's
Die
not
Hard,
city
man.
as
That's
well.
also
like,
confusing
yeah.
me because how does that translate to other languages?
I
Does he only
think-
cater to like the American? Like obviously, it's
I'm
in
sure
America.
it's-
or
They're all
whatever, but-
American actors too. Well,
But-
I'm
yeah,
sure
I-
those words are the same in Japan. Like
No, but I
Cupid.
think I guess
It's the
which is-
same, yeah.
But does it
BB.
mean the same to that culture? You know what I mean? Like
I don't know. It's like hors d'oeuvres. Like you know what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
most of the words like
like
you
does
get.
Bridge Baby BB also? You know, I don't know.
That
it's
one's
kind of
tough.
hard for me to even.
You're a
explain.
Bridge, and her name is Bridge.
Yeah.
Is. And
Yeah.
you're Bridget. And
Yeah.
that sounds like Bridge. Like that is the
It's
entire
fucking
story.
weird, and it's just like that to me
And
is the
fragile
art and
is
anime
fragile.
stuff where I'm like,
Oh God, that line.
I still want the art to be
Fragile. I'm
But
fragile.
not that
I'm not
fragile.
that fragile.
batshit from someone's mind.
Yeah. Anyway, those
yeah.
were Metacritic guesses. Remember, not our scores. That's
What
average.
score would you give it?
I don't know. I need to finish this game.
I
first.
didn't
I give it the N
I'm
slash A.
curious. Greg,
I hadn't thought about it.
Should we save it till next week?
I have thought about it.
Let's save it till next week.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's save the numbered scores till next week.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I would like to at some point do a spoiler cast with people because
Yeah,
there's,
100%.
there's a line in this game I fucking really want to talk about.
There's a scene in this one that was so batshit crazy weird that I will let it end, and then I went right to the share button to save the hard drive
Yes.
because like I could tell people about this scene and they wouldn't fucking believe it. You need
Yeah.
to see this shit.
Maybe once that game
get
comes
Troy
out,
on.
we can do that.
After he finishes it, finally, hopefully.
This has been the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Thank you very much for staying tuned to our Death Stranding review. We will return next week, same place, youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. Until then, I love you. Oh, yeah, and also thank you to PlayStation for providing Death Stranding for review.
Did you say FDA shout out?
FCC.
It's actually the FTC.
The
right?
Dental Association.
You would think it's
I
FCC,
wrote
but it's
FDA. I don't really know.
the Food and Drug Administration would like to tell you,
Beginning to.
PlayStation fans.
I said FDA in the beginning.
No. You said it, the disclosure in the beginning was.
Oh, yeah.
So
You
you
need
were
to do it
covered
on both.
We're good.
Is that what it said? Mm-hmm. Whatever. You said it. Put it in the disclosure of the script.